13 coming on up. Let's get it rocking and rolling. Hey guys, how you going? So down BKRsport, we are live for round 13 of the NRL season as the Cronulla Sharkies will be taking on the Manly Sea Eagles tonight, and it is going to be a big time battle of the beaches here. Obviously, Manly and Cronulla both located in Sydney. They both claim to have the best beach in Sydney. Obviously, we know the best beaches are on the Gold Coast, but that's obviously not in question right this very second, right? Manly, you may have beat the Gold Coast last week, but you win on the field, you don't win off the field. The Gold Coast is the greatest place in the history of all time. But this is going to be a good battle because this is a rivalry game, but it's not anything crazy hectic. But over the years, you know, it has definitely had a little bit of a spice to it. So I'm looking forward to tonight because the Sharkies are looking to really get back into some form after their recent couple of weeks. Obviously, they beat the Bulldogs 38-16, but obviously, you know, they lost the Rabbitohs and smashed the Tigers and whatnot. So in their last 3 weeks, at least, they've got those two absolutely massive wins. But they've definitely got to get a bit of consistency about themselves. That is the problem with the Cronulla Sharks, and that is why they are currently on scam. If you won this, you would go off of scam, and you might go down to the old fraud alert, son. Actually, you'd definitely go off of scam and you would go down to the fraud alert, but next week they play the Dragons as well. So if they can win this game, there is a great chance here that they could go 3 wins in a row, and they need to get some consistency into their season because right after that they'll take on the New Zealand Warriors. You better be primed for that. I know you beat them already this season, but you've got the Warriors, you've got the Roosters, you've got the Broncos at Suncorp, the Dolphins you've already lost to in a slap up this year at home. The week after that, and then the Knights who are flying, you play Manly again. So these next couple of weeks are very, very important here for Cronulla because, one, they're coming off the back of that big win against the Doggies. Then they've had that bye, and now they're coming in here against Manly, who didn't have the bye. They do get, I think actually they've got quite a few players out still here, Manly. They don't have anywhere near their full-strength team in. So this really should just simply be the Sharks coming in here confident to win. They really need to be confident. You know, you've made 2 prelims in a row. Yes, you haven't made the big dance just yet, but at the end of the day, you have been there, and you do have a good enough roster for it. I'm telling you, if you lose this game and you continue to lose, I'm going to continue to look at Craig Fitzgibbon and say, what are you doing with this roster? Because the roster is good enough to win. And the roster is good enough to win this game today by plenty, especially if Manly play the same way they did last week against the Titans today against Cronulla. You should be winning this game and winning this game well, but there's a reason why you're on scam, because whenever we expect the Cronulla Sharks to go and do something, whenever we expect you to go and win, you lose. So that's my biggest concern about Cronulla, obviously. Whilst Manly, obviously, their form, we all know about their form so far this season. They struggled at the beginning, and then, you know, they've been pumping of late. Besides that one loss to the Panthers, you know, they beat the Titans just, and realistically, it came down to the Titans just being the most error-riddled team in the bloody competition. But they beat the Titans, they beat the Tigers, they beat the Broncos. Obviously lost the Panthers in a close one, 18-16. Beat Eels 33-18. Beat the Cowboys 38-6. Beat the Dragons 28-18, and beat the Dolphins 22-18. And that's all their games underneath Kieran Foran, because obviously Anthony Seibold was at the club before that. So Manly's form is good, but they kind of are due like a loss. I know they only lost to the Panthers 4 weeks ago, but it just kind of does give that vibe like they're due in the near future, like right now. Like they are due is what I would say. Whilst the Sharks, I'm kind of waiting for them to just turn it on for a little bit and people start to get confidence in them and they shatter you later on in the year, which is exactly what Cronulla do every single year. So I just get that vibe, that gut feeling that the Cronulla Sharks are going to go on a bit of a run for a little bit, and Manly might slow down briefly, but I still have them up there in that potentially 4th spot because they do play well. It's just last week against the Titans wasn't exactly a great shot for them, and the week before that against the Tigers at Magic Round, Tigers had literally all their players out, which the Tigers get a lot of their players back this week, so that's good for them against the Bulldogs. I think tomorrow is when they play. But guys, let's get into the round that's about to come here for round 13. Obviously, there is one game short. We had the Origin on Wednesday. We had the Women's Origin last night. We have this Sharks Manly game today, and we've got 3 games tomorrow and 3 games on Sunday. Usually, we would have 2 games here today. And not 3 games on Sunday, 1 game on Thursday and 2 games on Sunday, but obviously that is different with the Origin period. So we're going to go through all the games this round, then we'll get into our preview here for today where we'll go through both these 2 team lineups, and then we'll get into the ladder, and then we'll jump into the chat and see what you are saying ahead of this big one here in the Shire. So obviously, guys, smack that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new around here. Let's rock and roll. So the first game, obviously Sharks versus Manly. Tomorrow, the 3-game slate, Knights versus the Eels. Now, Eels are missing Mitchell Moses. I really don't fancy him, but We'll see Dylan Brown gone up against his old club there. I fancy the Knights to roll through that one, to be fair, with their attack. And the Eels are the worst defensive team in the competition by a country mile at the moment. So Newcastle realistically should be just coming through that one in Newcastle. And I do fancy Dylan Brown to actually score against his old club there. Then you go to the Tigers versus the Bulldogs. The Tigers getting their players back. Bulldogs coming off a win against the Melbourne Storm, which you haven't been seeing too much this year, Doggies fans. You haven't been seeing a great deal of wins. So that's going to be an interesting game there where, look, the Tigers get their players back, but are they ready to fully fit and raring, or are the Bulldogs going to go into a little bit of form here and get a couple of wins on the board in a row? That'd be big time for their season, because their season has been absolutely disastrous so far. So really important game tomorrow, the middle game tomorrow. And then the Storm versus the Roosters down there in Melbourne. Well, the Storm, they had that one good win against a very injured Tigers team outside of that. Well, gee whiz, they're still looking really, really disastrous when they lost to the Bulldogs there confidently. And, the Roosters... I just really think they roll them. I think they can absolutely roll them. I don't think the Storm are prime, and I know Munster's been finding a little bit of form recently for the Storm heading into this Origin series, and Harry Grant is going to be back and whatnot. They'll play their full strength roster because they can't afford to not play their full strength roster right now. They need wins from Melbourne Storm, so that's an interesting game. But I do just simply expect the Roosters to come in there and take themselves off fraud alert and really establish themselves again in this season, because right now you're having those little bit of concerns after that Cowboys game. You go to the Broncos versus Dragons on Sunday. The Dragons still have not won a game so far this season. Broncos, unfortunately for St. George, they're bringing back guys like Payne Haas, Katoni Staggs. They get Brendan Piakura back into their team. Reece Walsh is here. Adam Reynolds is there. Ezra Mann. They've got a full-strength team, like pretty much full-strength team here. So the Broncos, who really need to start fixing their season too, because they're in 11th, go up against a team that hasn't won a game so far this season. And at Suncorp Stadium as well. That's going to be one that realistically should be going Brisbane's way. You go to the Raiders versus Cowboys in the middle game on Sunday. Really tough one to call this. Raiders are, funnily enough, favourites here. They do bring back guys like Hudson Young and Ethan Strange, and Sebastian Chris comes in as well. Murray Slungy and Ruben Cotter are back in for the Cowboys. That's a really hard game to predict there, because you don't know what Cowboys team's going to turn up. And the Raiders, they're finding a little bit of form recently, but also you're not 100% convinced on them just yet. However, if they win that game, they're starting to put themselves back up into a top 8 equation, because right now they are only 4 points off of the top 8, and teams like the Sharks and the Tigers, they've actually had 2 buys compared to everybody else. Tigers, Sharks and Roosters have had 2 buys, but Sharks and Tigers are there in 9th and 10th position, so they're not actually, well, they are technically where they are. Well, no, they're not. The Broncos would be above them because they've had 1 less buy. Yeah, they've had the 1 less buy. Anyway, long story short, very, very interesting there if the Raiders can get a win on Cowboys on Sunday, because that will put them into that top 8 equation again. And then you go to the big one. This is the big game of the weekend, and it's going to be absolutely nuts here, man, because we have a large New Zealand audience here on this channel. Penrith Panthers versus New Zealand Warriors at CommBank Stadium, first versus second. This is going to really tell you if the Warriors are a legitimate team this year. I truly think this game should just be 1-12 either way, but when you have a lot of quality in a game, one team can come with that quality, one team can just be a little bit slightly off, and if you're slightly off in that game, the other one is really enhanced because of how much the game means, and they can blow it away. But I think this absolutely is going to be a belter, and I'm really looking forward to that on Sunday. I probably would be leaning to tipping the Panthers still, but gee whiz, I'm really excited for that. And then obviously the buys are the Dolphins, the Rabbitohs, and the Titans. So that's this round incoming. So a couple of good games, but it definitely looks like there could be some blowouts. I don't actually, funnily enough, think the Broncos are going to blow them out by a massive amount, though. Like, I do think the Dragons will compete for a good 60, and then the last 20 will fall off. That's usually what they do. But I do think the Dragons will give it a red-hot crack. Like, they are due a win. They are going to win at some point this season. I don't know who it is against. For all I know, it could be against my team in round 21. Could be against the Sharks, who the last time the Dragons did win a game was against Cronulla last year in about round 21 or so. Round 20, 21 or so. The Broncos, very beatable, but they're bringing players back in. So, look, the Dragons will win at some point, man. But I feel like it's going to be like a 14-point win for the Broncos, something like that, where the Dragons give it a crack, but they just can't get the line over the top of them. But let's get into this game here today, guys. So the Sharks, they come to this game from 9th position. Manly come into it from 4th position, and this is at Ocean Protect Stadium in Sydney, which is Shiaki Park. The ins here for Cronulla: Blake Brayley, Cameron McInnes, Nivo Peru, and Riley Jones, with the outs being Braden Ueli, Britton Akora, Cale Iro, and Nico Hines. That is a massive, massive out there of Nico Hines. Obviously, Nakora not in, but he's usually on the bench anyway. And then you've got Kale Iro out, which is a really strong centre they're missing. Geez, I didn't even realise the Sharkies had these outs here. Nico Hines out is brutal. The fullback is Will Kennedy, with the wingers being Samuel Stonestreet and Ronaldo Molitalo, centres of Jesse Ramian and Moeni Hiroti. The 5'8" is Braden Trindle, with the halfback being Niva Peru. The front row forwards are Adam Fanor Blake and Toby Rudolph, with the number 9 being Blake Brayley, who was the captain. You go to the back row of Teague Wilton and Billy Burns, with the 13 being Cameron McInnes. Then you go to the interchange, Jesse Colhoun, Siasifa Talakai, Thomas Hazleton, Hohepa Peru, Jaden Beryl, and Riley Jones, with the coach being Craig Fitzgibbon. Like I said, the Sharkies, they at least got that big win against the Doggies a couple of weeks ago at Magic Round, but outside of that, it's just been super inconsistent. They lost 36-12 to the Rabbitohs at a core stadium the week prior, when they should have really been winning that game 13+ with the Rabbitohs out. The week before that, they beat the Tigers with a 2-10, but that was when the Tigers had just a gigantic amount of injuries in that game. But with that being said, it's a win, loss, win, back to another loss there of the Cowboys, 46-34, and then you had that bye. Now, the Roosters did beat them 34-22. They did beat the Warriors 36-22. And they did beat the Raiders 34-22, but got thumped by the Dolphins 38-10 and thumped by the Panthers 26-6, but also thumped the Titans within a 10. Do you see why they're on scam now? Because you can't ever be convinced in them. They go and win 50-10, and the next 2 weeks they lose 2 in a row by 13+. And then they go and beat the Raiders away, and they go and beat the Warriors, who are in second position right now, 13+, and then go and lose an absolutely horrific game against the Roosters, and then a horrific game against the Cowboys, and then they go and win 52-10. And then they go and lose 36-12. And then they go and win 38-16. How do you predict this team? How do you figure out a way to confidently predict what this team is going to do on any given day? They have a fantastic roster. Now, obviously, Nico Hines is out. This is a huge, huge loss for them. However, are we going to see today that the halves are a significant problem, and Nico and Braden Trindle don't necessarily work out with each other on a long-term basis, because we're still waiting for them to really push deep in? I know they make the prelim finals, but at the end of the day, they do it without any confidence. Like, the Sharks do not confidently get into the preliminary finals. They get there. We're still waiting for more from them, and we've been talking about the fact that maybe if this year doesn't pan out for them, which right now it currently isn't, maybe we do have to start really seriously considering talking about changing up the halves. I think that's a big thing, because their backline's good. I know they're missing Kayla Iro today. At least they've got Ronaldo Molitalo back. They are missing Sione Katoa. So regardless of getting Molitalo back, they miss out on Sione Katoa. I think Will Kennedy should be primed for a big game here today. He's going to have to really step up as well with Nico Hines being out. Adam Fanor Blake, I can't continue to talk about how much I'm disappointed in him this year. For New South Wales, I don't really think he did anything. And for the Sharks here this season, and I would even argue last year too, I haven't been seeing anywhere near the quality that we know Adam Fanor Blake possesses. So the Sharks really have a lot of players here that should be playing at better standards. And that's why I keep saying, well, Craig Fitzgibbon, I'm looking at you. You're not getting the best out of this team right now. You should be getting the best out of this team. You've been here long enough. Maybe 2 preliminary finals. Well, you've got to start getting the best out of this team. Billy Burns has been absolutely fantastic. Maybe not so much this year compared to last year, but he's still been holding Britton Okora out for the most part in the games. And yeah, that's basically what we have to say about the Sharkies. They are pieced a little bit apart by injury today, but so are Manly. Manly have players out themselves. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how Cronulla do go here with this new halves pairing of Braden Trindle and Niva Peru. Again, they need to win. You just do, because when we get into this ladder, there is, it's just a fall off central. You do have a better points differential than a couple of teams below you, but still, geez, you can't be relying on that right now. You just simply need to win, and especially here, being at home. Now, the NC for Manly, Leha Hawade, and the out is Hugo Hart. The fullback is Clayton Fa'alalo, with the wingers being Jason Saab and Leha Hawade. Centers of Josh Faleti and Ruben Garrick. The 5'8" is Luke Brooks, with the halfback being Jamal Fogarty. Front row forwards are Taniela Paseka and Kobe Hetherington, and the number 9 is Jake Simpkin. Back row of Jackson Sherab and Ben Trebojevic, with the 13 being Jake Trebojevic, who is the captain. And go to the interchange, Brandon Wakeham, Nathan Brown, Ethan Bullimore, Simeone Laiafi, Blake Wilson, and Joey Walsh, with the coach being the Fosball, Kieran Foran. Manly, gee whiz, they definitely have some players out here. Toltau Kuola, for obvious reasons, is out. We don't need to get into that because that will start off World War III again. But Toltau Kuola is out. Obviously, no Tom Trebojevic here. Hamoli Olakawatu Shmoli is not playing here today, so Jackson Sherrill will be in the starting back row. Who else am I missing? There's definitely a few other players that I'm missing here that aren't playing in it. But ultimately, Manly do have a few injuries right now. We're quite lucky to get in over the line against the Gold Coast Titans last week. But at the end of the day, the Titans are very error-filled. So it just is what it is. And Manly were able to hold it out in the end. Manly are on a great winning streak here where, removing the best team in the competition, the Penrith Panthers, they would have won against everybody else 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row outside of that Panthers game, who are again number 1 in the competition. If you want to add the Panthers in, it's still a 7-1 out of their last 8. So that's very, very good there for Manly, especially when they started the season off 0-3 under Anthony Seibold. They just are simply playing for Foz right now. But again, I'm just feeling like they're due a loss, and I don't know if it's against the Sharks here. Maybe it's against the Rabbitohs next week. Regardless of how Manly have been, I just feel like they're due a loss very, very soon. And the Sharks, I don't know what to even say, whether they're going to win or not. You just have no idea what Cronulla's going to do. So I'm still going to back in based off of that gut feeling. I'm going to back in the gut feeling of a Manly due a loss and Cronulla. This is their best period to potentially go on a little bit of a winning streak here. I don't think anyone's going to be overall confident with them regardless, but I do feel like this is a must-win streak right now where you beat the Bulldogs, you beat Manly, and then you play the Dragons next week. And I know that's an interesting game because it's a local rivalry, a local derby between the two clubs there. But the Dragons, they simply haven't won this season, and you can't be the first team to lose them. You just simply cannot, man. You have to let that potentially be the Titans in round 21. I'm serious. You have to let that be that wooden spoon battle in round 21, and you have to make sure that they're the team to lose to them, because it would be so embarrassing for anybody else. It really would be. It would be so embarrassing for a team that's outside of the bottom 4 to lose to what the Dragons are putting up this year. So next week is just simply important. Every game for the Dragons is actually a really important game to watch for every team, just because a loss would be so detrimental and it would be embarrassing overall. So I'm going to take the Sharkies here to win today. Nowhere near confident, just nowhere near at the point where I say, yeah, no, guaranteed the Sharks just simply go and get this job done. Manly have been in good form, but maybe not so much form last week. Again, they won the game 12-10, but it was not spectacular at all. At all. If the Titans had probably 4 or 5 less errors, they go on to win that game. But they had 18, 19 errors in the game, and that is what it is. So Manly do need to have a much better performance than last week, that's for sure. They do. And Shark Park isn't going to be easy. I think Sharks win quite a lot here at home in front of 2 people. It's a small stadium. It's a small stadium. It's not about the fact that people don't turn up. It's about the fact that it's a really, really small stadium. So I'm going to take the Sharkies here, and we're going to hopefully see them get back to their best. But no Nico Hines, no Kale Iro, no Nick Cora is a big loss there. Now let's move into the ladder. Now Manly, they are in 4th position on 16 points. They've only had the 1 bye so far. The only team above them with more byes is the Roosters. So technically, Manly, well, they're all on 7 wins, but if Manly keep winning, then the points differential is the separator here. So Manly on 16, which is equal to Newcastle Knights, the Cowboys. Manly are on plus 109, whilst the Knights are plus 28 and Cowboys are plus 27. So your points differential is amazing, Manly. Now, if you win this game, the Roosters play the Storm on, I think it is tomorrow night. If you win this game, you will go into 3rd position. It will just come down to if the Roosters beat the Storm or not, which I believe will happen. But for the time being, you would go into 3rd position. You cannot go into 2nd because the Warriors are on 20 points. So they're 2 wins above you still. It would be 1 win going into that Panthers game if you were to win this. So, yeah, you'll be in 3rd, but then if the Roosters beat the Storm, you'll go to 4th. If the Roosters lose the Storm, you'll finish off the round in 3rd because the Knights and Cowboys are nowhere close to your points differential. And the Roosters have a plus 61 points differential. You have a plus 109. So you are completely sweet in the points differential category. But if you lose this game, well, Newcastle play the Eels tomorrow. You'd probably expect Newcastle to win that game. So Manly would drop down into 5th position. The Cowboys, they play the Raiders on Sunday. If the Cowboys win that, then you would go down into 6th position. But again, that points differential is so crucial right now that even if the Rabbitohs and the Sharks would go equal with you, but the Rabbitohs and the Sharks and the Dolphins who get their bye. Actually, the Rabbitohs and the Dolphins both have the bye. So, yeah, no matter what, you won't be going below them because they've got a plus 58 and plus 51. You would have to lose this game by dead set like 60 and 70 points to go below those guys. It's not going to be happening. And the Sharks are plus 34, so they would need to win this game by dead set about 40 because then they'd go to plus 74. You'd go to... No, they'd have to win by about 42, 44 points to go above you, which just shouldn't be happening, especially with no Nico. So realistically, the lowest that you would fall this week is 6th. But it just comes down to who wins out of those Knights and Cowboys games with the Eels and the Raiders. Now, on the other side, the Sharks are in 9th position, and they are on 14 points right now, which is equal to the Rabbitohs, the Dolphins, and also the Tigers. Worst case scenario for them is that the Rabbitohs and the Dolphins both have a bye, so they'll be on 16 points immediately once this game does kick off here. But their points differential is not too far behind. So the Sharks are on plus 34. If they were to win by 17 points or more, they would go above the Dolphins. They would have to win by 24 points or more to go above the Rabbitohs. With a win, they just straight up go above the Cowboys, who are on plus 27, and also straight up go above the Knights, who are on plus 28. Again, those guys do play against the Raiders and the Eels. But it's really hard to kind of read this right now, but you would immediately go above the Cowboys. And so the Rabbitohs and Dolphins are actually going to be in 5th and 6th. The Knights and Cowboys are actually in 7th and 8th right now. So Sharks, if you win, you will go immediately to 7th, and then it just comes down to how much you win by. Again, if you win by 17 points or more, you go above the Rabbitohs. The Dolphins. And if you win by 24 points or more, you go above the Rabbitohs. So right this very second, you would go into 8th, just dependent on how much. 7th, but just depending on how much the other teams win by. And then you go down to if the Sharks lose this game, well, the Tigers are minus 16. So the Tigers play the Bulldogs tomorrow. If you back in the fact that they've got their players back, a lot of their players back, like Cotaway Sow and Alex Twal and Dream Buller and whatnot, and the Tigers win that game, well, the Sharks, you'll drop down into 10th position. Now, the Broncos' points differential is absolutely diabolical. Now, the only thing that you could even consider here is if you think the Dragons are so bad, they're going to lose by 60 points, right? And you think that the Sharkies are going to scam it up here tonight and they lose by 34 points or 40 points kind of deal, well, then the Broncos would actually jump them. They're minus 57 and the Sharks are plus 34. It's just not going to be switching around. But the point is, if the Broncos win, they would go equal with them. Their points differential is just simply not good enough. The lowest that they can technically go is 11th, but a realistic thought process is 10th because the Tigers, I am giving a great shout to beat the Bulldogs tomorrow. I do think the Tigers do go and beat the Bulldogs, to be completely honest with you. I don't know if that's tomorrow or Sunday, but either way, Sharks for mine would drop down into 10th. Even though I am tipping the Sharkies today, they would drop down into 10th based on that. So they do need to get some wins here. And again, the Dragons next week is a prime opportunity for them. This origin period is going to be difficult for teams. It always is. The Sharks aren't really typically hampered by origin, but the eligibility rules of Adam Fanor-Blake and also Britt Nakora have changed that up. I'm not even too sure why Britt Nakora is not playing here today. Did Britt Nakora get injured in that origin game? I'm actually not even too sure why he wouldn't be playing because you've got Adam playing. Adam's here, but Britt Nakora's not here, so there has to be an injury involved there. Obviously, Nico's not Origin, neither is Kailero, but anyway, Origin period is always extremely tough to get through and a really good foundational point for the teams that don't have that many impacts. Like, for example, the Warriors, they lose Kirk Catewell. That's serviceable for them. Like, they can get through the Origin period absolutely easily. They've lost Hannah Boyd, but that's nothing to do with Origin. So teams like that need to use this period to slap up, and that's why it's going to make it even more difficult for the Storm to get out of the position that they're currently in third last, because they've got Munster and Harry Grant and Trent Loiero and the likes that are involved, and the Broncos, obviously they've got a couple of players involved, quite a few players involved, whatnot. And now Payne Haas comes back, but he's going to go straight back to Origin in 2 weeks' time. You would assume. So yeah, it's a very difficult part of the season, but winners win. The best teams find a way to do it. And Sharks, if you are who you say you are, let's see you get a dub here tonight. And Manly, if you are who you say you are, well, you got a little bit of excuses. But both teams have excuses here. They really do. Both teams do have excuses. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, hopefully we get a good game here. But guys, obviously hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new around here, and hopefully it is a good game. Jeremy says, "We'll need your try scorers, please. I grabbed Peterson last night on your tip. Oh, Jasmine Peterson. Jasmine Peters. Oh yeah. She scored the first try there for the old Queenslanders. Try scorers today for the Sharkies. I think I'm going to have to go with Ronaldo Militalo again. He scored a double last week when he returned from his injury. I think he's ready to really ramp it up in terms of this season for him, because he's obviously been out for the first 11 rounds prior to last week. Before the bye, sorry. So the first he was out for the first 10 rounds, and then and then played, and then obviously had the bye last week. So he was out for the first part of the season. So I think he's really trying to ramp up his season as we speak and get a few. I really wouldn't mind a William Kennedy try today either. So it comes down to just what you want to go with. William Kennedy will be better value in regards to try score prediction. Molitalo's a winger, and you would expect him to score. I'm going to say my prediction is Molitalo, but William Kennedy is a fantastic selection there in the fullback against Manly today for mine. And then we go to the forwards. And Blake Bailey was great for New South Wales on Wednesday. Maybe he'll find some confidence through that. Maybe I'll probably lean towards a Billy Burns, though. I just really like what Billy Burns do. I do like both these back rowers here for Cronulla, but Teague doesn't usually score, but he did score a double a couple of weeks ago. I'm actually going to try and go for a sneaky shout here, Blake Brayley, with the confidence from what he gained on Wednesday. It is it's a very short turnaround, though. It's a 2-day turnaround from... No, you know what? I will go Billy Burns, because it is a very short turnaround here for Blake Brayley. But I wouldn't mind him getting over the stripe as well. So I'll go Billy Burns and I'll go Molitalo, but again, great chances for Will Kennedy and Blake Brayley. And then for Manly, try scorer wise, Clayton Failalo's been pretty good. Still waiting for Luke Brooks to get across when he's been pretty good under the old Fosball. I think I might try and stick with Luke Brooks here and just kind of jag him at one point. I think I may at one point just try and jag a Luke Brooks here. So I'll back in a Luke Brooks. Yeah, I'll back in Luke Brooks. It's not an easy selection whatsoever, man. Luke Brooks is not someone you would have a great deal of confidence in, but under Kieran Foran, he has definitely been better than under Anthony Seibold by a significant margin. So I'm going to go Luke Brooks here to get one against the fly. And then for the forwards for Manly, geez, this is a tough sell because you got Taniela Paseka, Jake Simpkin, Cubby Hetherington, Jackson Sherrod, Ben Trbojevic, and Jake Trbojevic. I guess the easiest selection that you're probably looking for there is Ben Trbojevic. The most likely selection there would be Ben. Because Taniela Paseka is not a guy you would back in normally. Neither is Cubby Hetherington. Do I look at the bench here for a forward? Not Nathan Brown, maybe an Ethan Bullimore. You know, he's an absolute slap up. Laiafi. Like for mine, it's probably between Ethan Bullimore and Ben Trbojevic. I'm probably going to go with the starter of Ben Trbojevic here. Because Jake's just not usually scoring, and it's just so lucky if you pick him up. Cubby Hetherington's the same, and Taniela Paseka's the same. Jake Simpkin's not necessarily a guy I'd be looking for a try, but maybe you could look that way. And Jackson Sherrod, you don't know a great deal about. So I'll go with Ben Trbojevic. So yeah, for Manly, I'm going Ben Trbojevic and Luke Brooks. For the Sharks, I'm going Molitalo and Billy Burns. But again, nice little value shouts on Blake Brayley and Will Kennedy. So that's who I'm going with today. Kogan says, you really think the scammers, whoever could scam is going to win? Yeah, they are. Look, they are the scammiest scammers that ever did scam. And when I think of scam, I think immediately of the Cronulla Sharks. Like, when I go to India and I bought those nice shirts that I have and I got scammed, I immediately thought it must have been Craig Fitzgibbon, who was actually the owner of that shop. That's how much the scams are from the Cronulla Sharks. But just with that being said, the reason why they're a scamming team is because you expect them to win and you expect them to be a much better outfit and a much better team than they perform. So the fact is that we look at their team and say they should win. Even without Nico, they should win, but then they don't. So that's why they're scams. You look at it and you say they should be getting it done. So on paper, they should be doing it. So that's why you still will lean with them as the winner. But that's why you can't have any confidence behind it. So I think that they're going to win, but I'm fully aware that they probably don't, on the basis that we have always expected them to win, and then they always lose. So they're specials to prove us wrong, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. I'm okay to be proven wrong because we're just outlaying what we think will happen. It's just an educated guess at the end of the day, and that's with sport in general. You just have an educated guess based off of what you see in the past, and yeah, sure, based off what was in the past, would lean towards probably Manly winning across these last 6, 7 or 8 weeks. But then if you do that, when you tip the opposite team to the Sharks, that's when they'll go and win 13 plus. Against the Bulldogs, for example, the Rabbitohs game. Against the Rabbitohs, they 100% should have been winning that game 13 plus, and they ended up losing 13 plus. And then against the Bulldogs, you had 50-50 people tipping the Bulldogs and saying they could win 13 plus when they can't score for shit this season. They can't score at all this season. So yet people still took the Dogs, and the Sharks don't win 13 plus. You never know what you're going to get. And then the week prior to the Rabbitohs game, they went and beat the Tigers by 50. And that wasn't really a surprise, because if you looked at the team lineups, it was completely in favour of the Sharks, but also a very losable game for them in regards to the scam factor. But you just don't know. You never know. So I'm happy to go with what I think should happen. And if it doesn't happen, then we knew that probably wasn't going to happen. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know it's confusing, but do you understand what I'm trying to get at? Jeremy says, Todd Payton gets extended and still can't crack a smile. Unreal. Oh, I think that's a trap, man, for the Cowboys. I think Todd Payton extension is a trap. C8 Band says, go the Sharkies. 1 to 12 score prediction, 28 to 22. Difficult one in regards to score predictions of 1 to 12 and 13 plus, because 13 plus is the likely outcome this season. I know last week we saw 4 out of 5 games were 1 to 12 and 1 game was a 13 plus. But throughout the season so far, the average is 6 13 plus games and then 2 1 to 12 games. So last week was completely against the grain in a much shortened week. But if you translated that to across 8 games, you would have been saying the same thing of 6 1 to 12s and then 2 13 pluses. So hopefully the competition is going to start to even itself out, and we're going to start to see a lot more close games, and players are prime and playing their best footy to keep themselves in games regardless of how they're performing, because I hate right now that even teams that are on the same equivalent level as each other, like they're very, very good. Like, for example, Panthers Warriors, I could still see that being a 13 plus either way, because when you see one really good team go up against one really good team, there is a slight chance that one of those really good teams will be slightly under the level that they're typically at, and then the team that's here can perform at that same level. 1 second. The team here will compete at the same level or slightly above it. And because of the sheer quality of what this team can bring, and then the sheer quality of what this team can bring, but they're slightly under it, this gap goes from being like this to like this, and then that team can just blow it out. And that can go for both of those teams on Sunday. I'm probably going to be leaning towards the Panthers, and I would be leaning 1 to 12 there. But again, it's a battle between 1 and 2, and you could just see that gap completely separate. That doesn't mean long-term that necessarily is going to translate to the end of the season as well, but you can see that in individual matchups. Jeremy says, nah, man, Sharks are scam, no way they win. Well, that's just not true, is it? Undercora got a Category 1 HIA, well, there you go. Bentley says, up the Sharkies. Annie says, I don't care if we win 1 or 5 games this season, as long as we beat the Scamnala Sharks next week. They're the Great White Scammers. The Great White Scammers is what they're known as. Look, it's interesting, because the last time the Dragons got a win was against Cronulla. I need to go and make sure what round this was, because I think it was about round 20, round 21, which kind of scares the living shit out of me for this season. But 2025 Dragons, it was round 23. That was the back-to-back wins against the Raiders and the Sharks. Yeah, round 23 against Cronulla Jubilee. I think next week, where is it? Is next week at Cogra or is it at Shark Park? Next week is at Shark Park. Okay, so that's going to make it a little bit more difficult for you. Yeah, I wouldn't hold too high expectations, Annie. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't hold an amazing amount of expectations, but it is also entirely possible. You do have to bye the week after that, and then you play Newcastle. Yeah, that's a little bit of a yikes there. Knights are in a prime position right now for that top 8. They're absolutely in a prime position. So I wouldn't go in with high expectations, but high hopes for sure, because it is entirely possible knowing what they can provide. MVP Madsen says, Manly's Beaches are better than Cronulla. Very professional live stream. Appreciate you, MVP. Manly Beaches are better than Cronulla. I will personally disagree. I do love Manly, and I do love Cronulla. I would say that I prefer Cronulla to Manly. In terms of the beaches, I'm from the Gold Coast, and I just feel like Cronulla reminds me a lot of what like a Burleigh Heads is, and Burleigh Heads is an amazing beach area on the Gold Coast with a beautiful view of the skyline of the city and all that type of stuff. I really, maybe this is just a personal preference based on the fact that it's the most probably similar. Like, what would Manly Beach be the most similar to? Manly Beach is really, really elongated. Like, if you're talking, I think maybe you're probably referring to more so the northern beaches, and then you get a whole. But if we're directly comparing Manly to Cronulla on the beach, on the specific beach of Cronulla versus Manly, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Cronulla's definitely my personal preference. I think it's my personal. Manly for mine would probably be like a. Oh, geez. What would I say is the most comparative? What would I say is because it's still like enclosed, right? It's not like just an open water beach where it's just completely like the Gold Coast where everything's pretty much just open water. Manly is still like relatively enclosed. whilst like Kira is way too long. What would be the most? Does anyone someone drop in the comment section? What beach on the Gold Coast would you say is the most equivalent to Manly Beach? Steve-O says hopefully heaps of tries. Why? Why, Steve-O? Why do you want heaps of tries? That is something that NRL fans are complaining about all the time. What do you mean, well, hopefully heaps of tries? What are we doing? Jeremy says, what do you think of Ashley ignoring the... No, we're not doing this. We're not going back into it. The Gold Coast Titans says, do you reckon Origin can't fix Tino? We had a pretty decent game the other day. Hopefully, man. We can only wait and see. Obviously, we don't have a game this week for the Gold Coast Titans. Next week, we play the Broncos. That'll be up at, I think, Suncorp. Is it Suncorp or Seabus? No, I think this is Suncorp. I think we already played them already at Seabus, didn't we? Yeah, it is. Suncorp next Saturday. So we have to just wait and see, man. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I hope that it has. And until he does it, I just have to sit here and say the same thing, hopefully. Hopefully, man. Bretton says, hey, mate, is Nico out tonight? Yeah, he is. Regardless, got Manly continuing their Fosball form without Kohler. I'm taking the Sharks, and I'm taking the Sharks even without Nico. But they're scammers. Like, so fully aware that probably won't even happen. But I still feel like the Sharks have the better roster, especially with Manly having all their those players out. I do still feel like the Sharks. But I didn't know that Nico was out going into this game. I did not know. I live in Cronulla, it's the best beach. Corey Skanes, I've got Manly 13 plus and a Hopawade. If you're tipping a team to win in nowadays modern rugby league, you are looking towards typically going for the 13 plus. Yeah. What about Son of a Beach? Well, thank you, Sakot Boots. I don't know Son of a Beach unless you're talking about the bald man in the middle of a park. Yes. Cooley is similar to Manly. Coolangatta? No, maybe like a D-bar or something? I wouldn't say Cooley. Maybe. I guess you could maybe think about Cooley. Again, I would definitely say Burley's one of our best beaches. Jeff says, Manly reminds me of surfers with long concrete broad walk along the point without the point. Yeah? Or I guess you could go with Broad Beach in that similar way. But the only thing that annoys me is that to compare them, because one, Manly is a completely just open ocean. Not Manly, the Gold Coast for the most part, up that area, the more northern side, like your Surfers or your Broad Beach or your Southport, whatnot. I was thinking the same thing, like maybe look at a Southport kind of deal, but no, Southport's not the same at all. The point is that they're just completely open, whilst Manly is still relatively enclosed. It's a really difficult comparison, whilst Cronulla is a direct one. I would just say Cronulla is straight up early. Just straight up early. Yeah, the Sharks have a really difficult run over this little bit. I'm telling you, Brenton, if you don't beat Parramatta by 40 plus tomorrow with Mitchell Moses, I'm off you. I'm off you, Brenton. If the Newcastle Knights tomorrow don't go and win by an absolute slaughterhouse against the worst defensive team in the competition, I'm off you. No Mitchell Moses. Gee whiz. This is who your try scorers. I already went through the try scorers, man. I already went through all four of them. So I'll give you a brief snapshot, but if you want to understand why I went with them, you have to go back in the stream. But I went with Ronaldo Mulatalo with a shout of William Kennedy, and then I went with Billy Burns with a shout of Blake Brayley. And then for Manly, I went with Luke Brooks, and then in the back row for Ben Trebojevic, because there's nobody else in the forwards that I'd be confident in saying should be getting a try here. Jeremy says, but Burley has legit lost the plot. Girls walking around basically naked. It's crazy. Are you complaining? Brenton says 13 plus all day. You better. Otherwise, you'll have made a deal with Brenton. You will have made a deal with Titans this week. Oh my gosh, they may win by 950 points. The Titans this week, it actually makes me truly sick to my stomach knowing how much they are going to win by this week. The bye has got another thing coming, son. It's got another thing coming. Edson says, hey, mate, should I get Colhoun, Nafahu White, or Sitili Tupanua in fantasy? Thank you for reminding me. I know you didn't intentionally do it, but I need to go and make sure my Supercoach draft team is sorted. Unless there's still like buys for this period of the season. I don't think there is there? I think this isn't a buy at this point. But I need to make sure. Tili Tupanua is a good shout because he's been killing it for the Dogs lately. I really liked I called him for a try last week and he got one. Nafahu White. Roosters are a little bit of a trap right now. Colhoun's been doing some pretty good things with the Sharkies this year. I would be leaning more so towards a Tili or a Colhoun, but I do think Navajo's probably the best player of the three there, but just when it comes to Supercoach and fancy kind of deal. I'm sorry, I'm just going to quickly have a look here at I just want to make sure if there is actually a game this week. Yes, there is. Okay, so but with Keanu Kenny out, I actually picked up Will Kennedy too, because I do think he could have a big game here. Oh, Stags could have a big one. Panthers against the Warriors. Like, the thing is, I've got Brian To'o, and he's an amazing winger. But it's like a Tony Stags is going up against the Dragons. Molotalo, I've got Molotalo in this team that I picked up last week after his injury. Or a couple of weeks ago after his injury. So I've got Molotalo here. And I've got Stags, and I've got Brian To'o. Now, I need to figure out how to fit 2 into 3 here. 2 into the wing centres. Stags is playing the Dragons. You just want to play. You want to have players who are playing St. George. But Brian To'o is so elite, and if he's going to have a big game, it's more usually going to be against the better teams where they go to him rather than Thomas Jenkins. And Jenkins is more a lot of the easier teams, in my opinion, that they do heavily focus down that side. Gee whiz. I don't know. I think I have to go with Stags. I do. I have to go with Stags. And with no Nico, Molotalo's a bit of a risky one, but I will go Stags instead of Brian To'o. And then Munster there, that's all I can do. Cleary. I don't know if I want to captain Cleary, though. I don't know if I want to do that. I actually might even VC Kennedy tonight. I think he'd have a cracker. I'm going to VC him. I might still leave the captaincy on Nathan Cleary, though, even though it's against the Wars and he is backing up. Hudson Young, Crichton. I had to put Matt Croker in this week because Colin Matangi's out and Leo Thompson and then Reece Robson. Gee whiz. Tough week. As I said, I bought Burton and 12 this week as well. You bought Burton. Why? Why did you go with Matt Burton? What? So the Dogs have proven to you they can attack now because of one win against the Melbourne Storm? Definitely not Tupanua. He's about to score in the negatives. Yep, that's the Tigers fan in Mitchell coming out here. Yeah, that is. Stags loves versus the Dragons. Up the Gold Coast Titans, everyone loves playing the Dragons, brother. Everybody loves playing the Dragons. Everyone. Sunday says, I've got Manly winning tonight. Maybe, man. Look, honestly, it's a difficult game to read, especially with Nico Hines out for the Sharks, but I still feel like the Sharks have the better roster, but they are scammed for a reason. Sean says, good afternoon, mate. Get around you. 20 minutes to go until the game does kick off here. 20 minutes to go, so hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Just for this week, Burton, he's gone next week. Okay, so the Bulldogs are playing, you're picking Burton for a week where they're receiving back Alex Twell. They're getting back... 1 second, I'm going to go into it. They're getting back Alex 12. They're getting Apisai Kotowi-Sau back. They're getting Makasini back into the team. Love him for a try this week. Jareem Baller back in. Stafford Toa back in. They do obviously lose Taylor May for the rest of the season, but which has opened up the spot for Makasini to be their permanent centre now for the rest of the year. But I don't know, man. Like, you're picking... And the Tigers are, this year so far, when they've been a full-strength team, a pretty good defensive team. Now, look, right now they've given up 269 points, which is, behind the Panthers, the Warriors, the Roosters, Manly, the Rabbitohs, the Dolphins, the Sharks, and that's it. But they actually are, when they were full strength, they were more so around that 4-3-4 area, 3-4-5 kind of range, more so 3-4. So with their players back, and that was also without Taylor May too, because Taylor May wasn't in for a good portion of the first part of this year. I mean, the Tigers are going to really come in there and try to get their defensive structure back in line. And the Bulldogs, I'm not convinced in their attack just because of a win against the third last Melbourne Storm right now. Well, I would have gone with Fletcher Sharp over... Is Fletcher Sharp starting for the Knights? Against the Eels, I would absolutely be going Fletcher Sharp instead of Matt Burton. Now, look, it's your choice, man, because if it doesn't work out, it's on you, it's not on me. But Fletcher Sharp is in the centres for Newcastle against an Eels team that is the worst defensive team in the competition. The Eels this year have given up 379 points, which is more than what the Dragons have given up at 367. More than what the Storm have given up at 314. The Raiders at 309. They are the worst defensive team in the competition. So, and Fletcher Sharp is in the centres there. So I definitely would be looking more so towards a little bit of Fletch. Rugby League Therapy Podcast says, if you had to say, what minute of the game does Toby Rudolph knock on tonight? Well, he's coming off of the bench, so that means that he won't be on for the first 20-30. So let's... Oh, no, sorry, he's starting. No, he is starting here, Toby Rudolph. So I was going to say if he's coming on in the 30th minute, I'm going to go to the 31st minute. So I'm going to say with him starting, we'll go the 4th minute. I'm going to be generous. I'm going to be generous. And I'm going to say the second set of the game for Cronulla. And we're going to have the 4th minute for a Toby Rudolph knock on. That's a spicy bet. Oh my gosh, that is an absolute bolter of a bet. 4th minute knock on. Adam says, when do you think the Dragons hit their first win of the year? Could be next week. Let's see how the Sharks play here today. How long is Nico Hines out for? I don't even know. I found out Nico Hines wasn't playing here today as soon as I started this stream up and looked at the 2 lineups. Edson says, I guess Sharp is cheaper as well. Eels defense isn't good. I'll probably take Sharp and see how he goes this week. It makes the most sense. You've got Matt Burton going up against the Tigers team that is usually pretty good defensively when they've got their full strength roster in, whilst Fletcher Sharp is going up against the bona fide last place team for defense this season. And the Knights, we all know how heavy emphasis their attack is. So speedy, so electric, so in your face. They keep on pumping, they keep on going, they put the pressure on. The only way to beat the Newcastle Knights is to keep the ball away from them, because if they have the ball, they can probably score. That's how good they are. And Fletcher Sharp being in that in the centres is a big bolt to shout. I would have preferred to see him in the 5'8". I think that he is the best 5'8" in the team, rather than Sandon Smith, who I think should be on the bench realistically. I think it should be Fletcher Sharp and Dylan Brown. But regardless, I think they should be winning tomorrow by a long way. What about Gerbo's headgear falling off? Oh, that's definitely first 2 minutes. That's 100% first 2 minutes. You'll go 7th minute, knock on. Wow, you're a generous man, Rugby League Therapy Podcast. You're a very... Gee whiz, that's generous. You are. I thought I was generous at 4 minutes. 7 minutes, that's like... Wow, I'm buying a lotto ticket. If we don't see Toby Rudolph knock the ball on the first 7 minutes, my gosh, I'm buying a lotto ticket. I'm 100%. So in Vietnam, where I'm in Nha Trang right now, there's people who walk around with little... lottery things that they try to sell to you. I've never done it, and I would never do it because I just know it would be an ultimate scam. Hey, well, we're watching the Sharkies today, so it makes sense. But if I'm telling you, if Toby Rudolph doesn't knock the ball on in the first 7 minutes, I'm gonna get my partner to go and buy one tomorrow, and then we'll look at it on Buddy's stream tomorrow. I'll get her to buy it tonight, and then we'll look at it tomorrow to see if we won. If Toby Rudolph doesn't knock it on in the first 7 minutes. Again, I'm 100% sure it's a complete scam, and they just walk around with these little pamphlet things and ticket things, and I don't even know how much it costs, to be fair, but we'll do it because I'd be interested to see how it even works. And he says we have Adam, and by the same scoreline, top 30 to 26. Adam says, Andy, I believe the Dragons have won 2 in a row at Suncorp, so you never know. Have they really? The Dragons have won 2 in a row at Suncorp? Is that Broncos, or is that just simply... Is that Broncos, or is that Suncorp in general? Okay, so let's go back to 2025 here. 15 minutes to go until a game kicks off. 2025, the Broncos... Yeah, they beat them 30-26. They did. They won the grand final last year. However, that was the first part of the season when the Broncos looked absolutely awful and couldn't buy a win. And then let's just see Magic Round last year. Are you including Magic Round? No, they lost to the Tigers at Suncorp Stadium Magic Round, so it's not technically true. But specifically against the Broncos, in 2024 was a rough season for Brisbane. That was a really rough season for Brisbane. And 30-26 as well. 2024, they lost 30-26. Yeah, that's interesting. What was 2023? I'm obviously assuming it's not going to be a win, but was it at least close? No, it wasn't. 40-18 loss to the Brisbane Broncos. Well, that's an interesting stat there. That is interesting to think about. I'm not going to be tipping the Dragons this week. Sorry, Annie and Nath, but that is an interesting stat to consider regardless. Jeremy says Rudolph is definitely knocking on. No, we know he's knocking the ball on. We're just trying to figure out what minute the game he does knock it on in. Sean says, give us the numbers for Lotto. How many numbers do you know? I don't do Lotto. My mum, my entire life, always, buddy, did that stuff, and she took me to those prize homes. And as a 7-year-old kid or 6-year-old kid, I think I've told you guys this story before, but as a 6-year-old kid, my mum, massive responsible parenting decision here. As a 6-year-old kid, she took me from Brisbane to the Sunshine Coast of Noosa, and it was one of those prize homes. It was like amazing, millions of dollars into the prize home, beautiful on the river, right near the beach of Noosa, amazing 2-3-story, whatever, many rooms, massive TV, a 6-year-old's dream. And because she wants to be so confident that it's going to happen, she wants to like manifest it. She would always say, "This is our house, like this is where we're moving," all this sort of stuff. And as a 6-year-old, you obviously can't fathom that, and you can't understand that that's just her manifesting it. So I had these unbelievable expectations, and we would go to the draw of it, and they wouldn't read out our number, and I would look up and Mum say, "We win," and it would break my heart. It would break my heart. So I will always say I will never, ever, ever, never, ever getting involved in that kind of stuff, because I have trauma from genuinely believing as we're walking around this house that it's ours, and then now that I'm old enough to recognize it, it was just her manifesting it. But as a 6-year-old, you're never going to understand that. You're never going to understand it. And I make fun of her all the time. She goes, "I'm going to a new house. I'm going to go check this house out." I say, "I don't give a shit. I don't care what house you're going to. Only tell me when you win. Good luck. I hope you win. But I don't give no shit. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing." Mitchell says that's a Memphis Grizzlies hat. This is not a Memphis Grizzlies hat. No way. This is a Chicago Cubbies. Up the Cubbies, son. Up the Cubbies. Sean says 25% of the stream if anyone wins. Exactly right. If you win the lotto, definitely. We're still waiting for that, what was it, $4 million dono from Olivia after she was winning the lotto. Jai says, what's the deal with being a I'm just traveling? Are you watching via Watch NRL? Yeah, I'm watching on Watch NRL, man. No, I just permanently travel. It's cheaper. It's better experience. Right now, I've got an amazing view. If you guys Google it, Natrang, NHA space TRANG. I've got a beautiful view here of the water, Vimpur land just over there. You know, once I finish here, go grab, I had bum me before. You know, beers are like dead set, essentially 50 cents, 60 cents. You know, you can enjoy it, and I'm here for the next month, and I just back and forth, and I was in Thailand before, and I was in India, and I was in Malaysia and Singapore. Don't know where I'm going to go next. It's either probably Indonesia or Philippines before I come back here. I don't know. I love Vietnam, but first try scorer, Lehigh. Well, I didn't say anything about Lehigh Pawado. Well, so if I said that any time try scorer was 6 potential different guys, why have you gone completely against the 6 guys that I gave as an anytime try scorer? Gary says, "G'day, Blaze and everyone. I hope you're all well and looking forward to the weekend. Hoping for a good Manly win here today." Well, Nico Hines is out for Cronulla, so you got a great little shout here of potentially snaking a dub. But the Sharks are, I believe, still technically favourites, and they should really get the job done here. But you never know with them. You just never know. 10 minutes to go until the game kicks off. 10 minutes to go. Jared says, "Put me down on the 3rd minute for a Rudolph knock-on." Are you just trying to one-up me, are you, Jared? You're just trying to one-up me? I go 4th minute, you go 3rd minute. Oh, my goodness me. So who's going 2nd minute? Who's going the first set of the game for Cronulla? You know what? We should do this in sets. So I'm going the 2nd minute. So that means that essentially, Jared, you must go the first set, because I'm going 2nd set. And then Rugby League Therapy, he said the 7th minute, which is probably about the 4th set, I would assume. 3rd or 4th set for Cronulla. So we're going to give you the 4th set. I'm going 2nd. I'm giving Jared the 1st set. And Rugby League Therapy, you've got the 4th set. So who wants the 3rd set of a knock-on? Yeah, up the Gold Coast Titans says, "I've got the kickoff." He says, "Can't believe Daz's favourite team is playing today." Daz's oh, okay. Yeah, no, I get you. It took me a little bit to think about that one. Jared says, "Chestnut checkers is what I'm trying to play, Blaze, but it never works for me." You're getting the 1st set. But you've actually got the 1st set, but only the 4 tackles after the first off the kickoff, because we've got someone, Gold Coast Titans, has set off the kickoff. And now we've got to put me down for the 32nd. No, you're getting the 3rd set. No, Bretton, you've been given the 3rd set, mate. You've just been simply given the 3rd set, and that's the end I'll hear of it. Here's my Vietnam Buddy lottery right here. You don't win anything except for a nice little pat on the back, and a metaphorical pat on the back too, because I can't physically pat you on the back. Would also be a bit weird to do that as well. But no, I've got the 2nd set. If it happens, I'm an oracle. I'm actually an oracle. Jaden says, "Thoughts on Katoa and Ramey into the Cows?" Yeah, massive signings for North Queensland there. I still don't believe in Todd Payton, but massive signings for them with Sione Katoa. I'm surprised, and this may be a little bit of bias here, but I'm surprised the Titans didn't go in for one of these guys at the very least, because Ramian is someone definitely who could go into this position. I know they signed Moani Hiroti, but Josh Hannay is the Cronulla Sharks coach, right? It was the Cronulla Sharks assistant coach and whatnot, and then has now come to the Titans. I would have expected him to make a play, especially in these positions. Now, you've got a Hiroti coming in, but I'm just surprised that neither of those guys were on the radar whatsoever. But I do think that the contract of AJ Brimson is what's killing a lot of the potential of signing new players. Rugby League Therapies is starting to deal on the 4th set. And Jake says, put me down for knock-on before the kickoff. Okay, well, we'll probably see that from the Knights tomorrow, Jake. Yes. Cockamore says, I'll go with a no knock-on. Nah, bullshit. If I win, I'll buy you the streaming rights. So if Toby Rudolph does not knock the ball on tonight, you're going to buy me the streaming rights to the NRL. Love it. We're on here, mate. We are on. That's going to be a juicy donation. That's going to be a juicy, $6 billion donation or something like that? $4 to $6 billion donation, I think it is. Beautiful. I'm looking forward to it. Marcel says, I reckon he's dropped it during the warm-up. Well, we can't prove that, though. I would assume you're right. We can't prove it. Jaden would love it if Sharks signed Brimo to come play fullback. Jaden, I've been saying this for a very, very long time. I've been saying this for the last couple of years now, that I think that AJ Brimson would fit perfectly in at Cronulla. William Kennedy was only signed as this is the thing. You've got Liam Ison at Cronulla, who is the next best thing, but unfortunately he gets injured quite a bit, and that's why you haven't seen him yet. William Kennedy has some great games and has some incredibly poor games, specifically that preliminary final last year against the Storm. That can happen quite a lot. So they signed him for a 1-year extension because William Kennedy's contract ended this year, but they signed him for another year because they wanted to, 1, see the progression of Liam Ison, but also 2, to see what William Kennedy is going to do here for this club. I don't think I would personally sign William Kennedy for the Sharks. Another club could do it, but I do not think the Sharks should sign William Kennedy beyond this year. And obviously, you would be able to get AJ Brimson on a discount. And that's the beautiful thing, because the Titans would have to be forced to pay part of the contract. It wouldn't just be a simple flat out like the Sharks have to pay for the rest of the contract until 2030. So you would be getting a discounted version, plus you'd be getting the quality of what AJ Brimson can bring in the position that he actually wants. So I think that it makes sense for the Titans, who are not going to play him in the fullback. They're guaranteed confident in Keanu Kenny. Josh Hannay is, and the club is. Okay, well, AJ Brimson doesn't want to play in the centre. He wants to play in the spine. We cannot accommodate that. We are going with Zane Harrison and JC in the 7 and 6, and we are going with Keanu Kenny in the fullback. Okay, well, if you don't want to play in the centre and you're not going to perform in the centre, well, then you can go and play fullback at a club like Cronulla that needs a fullback right now. I think it's the only thing that makes sense. You will get a discounted version, plus we can get rid of some of the cap. We're still going to pay a little bit of a chunk, but that will eventuate outwards, and we will be able to get that money ultimately into our cap space long term. I just think that it makes the most sense for both parties. Little Busby says, Sharks to attack their run here. Will Kennedy to be Dally M. Again, I think Will Kennedy could have a really good game here today. With me saying all this, I think he could have a really good game here today. Ty says, Chuck 200 on Clayton to score first. Going to bed after first try. What a boring Friday game. Why is this a boring Friday game? Manly are currently in the top 4, and Cronulla are currently in 9th position, with a win here putting them up into... It depends how much they win by, but if they won by 24 or more, they would go actually up into 5th position. They would have to win by they'd have to win by 44 to go up Manly. But like a win here by 24 or more puts them into 5th position. And Manly, they are in 4th position right now. I don't think this should be a boring Friday night game at all. But it could also end up being that way. It definitely could. But I wouldn't say that it should be. Before the match, digressing, Blaze, there have been so many emotional clips of Pep's 10 years at City. Amazing stuff that we don't get to see on a regular basis. Well, I get to see it on a regular basis, yeah. I've seen a lot of this stuff over the years, but if you're not a City fan, you probably wouldn't see it. Like, for example, Braden, the kid that was like, you're going to win all the trophies. I've known about that. I've seen that many, many times over the years. It's just really good of Manchester City to go back and do like a video of him now older compared to when he was as a kid. But yeah, as a City fan, we've seen this for these stuff. It's just really emotional to see it all back and, to look back at the last 10 years and just see how incredible it's all been. Blake Gardeman, fits 7 months. Get around your Blake. Says, hello, sir. Get around your Blake. Big game on Sunday for you, sir. Big game on Sunday. Little Busby said, I read that comment. Jake is a Penrith, Rooster, Waz, Sharks, Raiders fan. Brenton, he supports literally everybody. I've never seen, Jake supports everybody. At first, he was a Knights fan, and then I think he was a Broncos fan. And then, yeah, sometimes he's a Penrith, Rooster, Waz. I'm sure that at some point we're going to see him become a Tajikistani milkman supporter. You never know with Jake. You just never know. Sean says, Gary, tomorrow the Gunners are going to lose the Champions League. Yeah, we can all hope, mate. We can all hope and dream. We can all hope and dream. A little Busty says, Ronaldo to run amok. I think I agree. I think I picked up Ronaldo Mulitalo on my Supercoach draft because no one had him for the early part of the first 10 rounds. And then I was able to pick him up before anybody else thought about getting him in. And then he had a big game a couple of weeks ago. against the Bulldogs, and I think you could definitely have a big game here today. But the Sharks are going to be interesting to watch because they've got no Nicho Hynes. 2 minutes to go until the game kicks off here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. Sharks are about to run out into the field. Well, Manly would run out first, but they're both about to come out here. So does anyone know the injury on Nicho Hynes? Does anyone know what the actual injury is here? Manly are walking out onto the field now. Let me have a look. I'm actually going to go type it in. Nicho Hynes. Manly are walking out into the field now. Not going to lie. Hidden halfback stars. Long wait for Sharks shot as Nicho blows. Sharks forcing double late change. Okay, here we go. Cronulla Sharks have been forcing 2 late changes. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. So you're not going to tell us why. You're just going to tell us they've been forcing 2 late changes. Are we serious? Fox Sports. Are you serious? Are you serious? Sharks halfback, Peru, finally been given an opportunity. Coming in the side, reigning New South Wales Cup halfback of the year has been rewarded for his outstanding former reserve game. Can someone tell us about Nicho Hynes? Now we're talking about Nivi. Like, okay, sure, but I would like to... Yeah, here we go. Medical update about Nicho Hynes. An injury suffered at a Sharks training session earlier this week will see halfback Nicho Hynes miss his team's clash with the Manly Seagulls on Friday night. The Sharks are out in the field now. After undergoing scans following the incident, it was revealed that Hynes had a minor calf strain with further testing required to determine how long the injury is. Okay, so it doesn't tell us how long the injury is, but long story short, yeah, it's a minor calf strain. So it won't be too long, but it is still out for a little bit here. So I've just refreshed the score. The game is about to get kicked off here. Fire it up. Little Busby says, trying to have a blinder and unlock the back line or the same old fraudsters show up. Well, both options are entirely possible, but the Sharkies will kick this one off in front of the Shark Park faithful. And Manly bring this ball out here to the 10. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. James says, hope Hynes is back ASAP. People throw shit at him, but in all seriousness, we do need him. I feel like that the overall hate for Nicho Hynes really began due to the Origin throwing under the bus from New South Wales because he came in and then only got to face 7 minutes of the game. Unfortunately, missed one tackle that ultimately kind of cost the game, but also it wasn't just his fault, but he was the scapegoat for a New South Wales loss in Adelaide and then never was selected again. I don't believe he was selected again. So it's unfortunate Nicho Hynes' career post that moment because he was criticised beforehand, but now it's even more emphasised because he put himself he didn't put himself, but he was selected in the biggest stage of the game. All right, so fifth tackle now for Manly, and they will kick this ball down here to Cronulla at the 10, where Samuel Stone Street now runs his ball back to the 20, and then Manly take him back to about the 18 on first tackle. Well, it just means it will be Trindle's team now, so I'm looking forward to seeing this. Well, Nivi Peru also has to stand up here, but yes, it should be Trindle's team. But Blake Brayley as well, he needs to lead from that number 9, where he had a cracker game against Queensland on Wednesday. Yes, big in, offload there, and then Billy Burns. Oh, that's a high tackle. Yep, penalty to the Cronulla coming up. That is a high tackle penalty coming up. This is the first set, by the way, for Cronulla. This is the first set, so watch Toby Rudolph. I've got the second set. This is the first set. This is the first one. But there's multiple guys here. But Blake Brayley did have a good game against 12 men on Wednesday. But there is a reason why. He is in Origin and he's a fantastic number 9. I would say besides Harry Grant, I've got him as my number 2. Maybe right now you would even be looking at Reece Robson as number 3. Maybe. He's been very consistent for the Roosters. Here's Toby Rudolph now. Second tackle. He held the ball. I think you might be screwed here, whoever got that the first set. Jared, I think you might have been screwed. Third tackle now for Adam Fanor-Blake at the 33. And it's going to be Blake Brayley. Gives it off to Braden Trindle. Trindle now to Cameron McKinnis. Will be fourth tackle at the 28. What would be a spanner in the works is Toby Rudolph scoring a try. Now that would throw a spanner in the works. Right through the line here, Billy Burns. Billy Burns kicks his ball across. And Will Kennedy nearly scores, but he'll be taken down here at the 2. Cheeky little kick there from Billy Burns. Good defense there from Manly to prevent that in the end. Trindle. There's a knock on from Trindle. There's a penalty to Cronulla for an offside. Oh, dude. A knock-on fifth tackle, 5 meters out from the line for Braden Trindle, but yet it's an offside penalty. That is brutal against Manly. There's just such a ballsy kick here from Billy Burns, though. If he kicks that deep into the corner, Mulatalo scores for sure. Yeah, who had Trindle knock on first 2 minutes? Well, he didn't, Brenton. It was a penalty. So the penalty overrules the knock on, so it doesn't get credited as a knock on. They're taking the 2. Are you shitting me, Cronulla? Are we serious? You're 10 metres out. You've had one attacking opportunity. You've gotten all the way into their attack and 10. You're going to take the 2 in a sport that is so high scoring? Wow. Okay, they're going to take the 2. I just don't know if I agree with this. You've got so much momentum right now. You've already pushed... Well, you've had one set. You've pushed all the way into the 10, and then you've received a penalty and you go for the 2. Yeah, Cats take the 2. I think this is a pretty soft thing to do, Brenton. Contextually, it just doesn't really make a great deal of sense. I get it. Take the points on offer. You take the lead 2-0, but also... Let's see if it pans out. We'll see if it pans out. I just don't really see the point in it early doors. Nate loves it. Of course you do. Nate is the king of the 2-pointer. He's at the king of the 2-pointer. He nearly missed that just then from right in front, but it will be 2-0 here to Cronulla, 4 minutes into the game. James Sasabi Bradley is getting his proper recognition now too. Well, I've been saying it for years now. People used to call me a biased Cronulla fan, but I've been highly rating him since 2022. Yeah, but I think the people who weren't rating him probably weren't the ones who were actually watching him week to week. People have this tendency to want to have a say about everything when they don't actually watch the games. So they probably will see him play against their team and then may catch a game or two every now and then of a Cronulla game when he's playing. And because of that really short amount of time they've watched, they want to feel like they can have the opinion and to speak about him as an overall player. And it's like, well, it's an unfair thing to do to judge a player based off of a 2, 3, maybe 4 game report, 2, 3, 4 games or so. It's unfair to compare him off of that and not see him for what he is across the entirety of the season. But no, Brayley's been fantastic for years now, and he's really starting to open up himself in this last 2 years. And now definitely this year. But last year he was great. I would say Blake Brayley nearly was their best player last year. So that's going to be Toby Rudolph. Will he hold the ball? Will he hold the ball? Will he hold the ball? Oh, he held the ball at the 11. First tackle. This is my set too. This is the set that I predicted Toby would dunk the ball on. Second tackle now at the 18. Blake Brayley to Adam Fanor-Blake. And Fanor-Blake now takes it to the 25 and third tackle. Little Busby says, bloody autocorrect making me look uneducated. Was saying, Appy is my number 1 hooker for New South Wales if he wasn't injured. I think a few years ago, sure. I don't think anymore. I think a few years ago, sure. Will Kennedy, he'll take this ball, the 5th tackle now to the 42. Well, Toby Rudolph's not going to be kicking this, so I unfortunately got it wrong here. And Trindle will whack this ball down here to the 10. And it's going to be Clayton Faulalo who takes it out to the 20. Wow, good line there from Cronulla. They drag him back to the 15 as well. This has been a pretty hot start here for the Sharks. Again, disappointing they took the 2, but it's been a hot start for them regardless. They've definitely started off this game the better. Yeah, get around Nate. Be a man and run the set. Don't take the 2. I would have preferred that. But if it is a close game, it could definitely prove the worthwhile. But you could have potentially throw away 6 points there, or 4 points, because you already get the 2 ready anyway. 4th tackle now at the 35. And Paseka will beat the 44. Egan playing better than Appy at the moment, though. I wouldn't say. You're saying Wade Egan's a better player than Appy Sokotowi-Sau? I wouldn't necessarily agree. And Will Candy here nearly gets away, but good tackle there in the end by Josh Felitti. And they go out to the left-hand side to Jesse Ramian, and Ramian's going to be at the 20 on second tackle. Need to see this direction from the halfback, though. Need to see Nivo Peru have a big one here. Third tackler at the 30. Blake Brayley to Teague Wilton. And Teague Wilton now, he's going to bring this ball to the 35 on 4 tackle. Teague Wilton off to McInnes. McInnes now, Toby Rudolph. Here he is. He's held the ball, though, at the 45. He's held the ball nicely. Blake Brayley to Braden Trindle. And he's going to kick this one down to the 10. Easy one for Faulala to get. And now they bring it out here to the 23 on first tackle. A bit of big, mate. 2 points at a time. 2 points at a time, Nate. That's the Dragons' way. Even if you're down by 50. The only thing that makes sense in St. George, the old Illawarra, take the 2. Death taxes, take the 2. That's the St. George way. Third tackle now at the 33. And Jake Simpkins going to go to Lee Hopewade. And Hopewade We'll bring this back. Oh, jeez, he's going to get dragged back to the 30. They are not starting this game off well, Manly. And again, they weren't great against the Gold Coast Titans last week. If the Titans have 4 or 5 less errors than their 18, 19 that they had, they'd probably win that game. And Manly right now is showing similar-ish signs in this first 8 minutes that they haven't really gone away from that game. And Cronulla will be at the 5. And they'll bring it out to the 15. Samuel Stone Street on first tackle. Yeah, right now, if we're talking about the who's in line for that New South Wales hooker spot, I don't think Laurie Daly would be even thinking about Wade Egan. I think it's simply between Reece Robson, Appy Psychotic Sound, Blake Brayley, and I think that he actually probably would go the two of Reece Robson and Blake Brayley regardless. But 6 again, if the Sharks at the 30. The issue is, though, it's really good that a lot of New South Wales fans have admitted how poor. They get a good offload away. Adam Fanor-Blake underneath now. And Niva Peru will bring it out to the 48 on first tackle. It's good to see that a lot of New South Wales people are coming out and saying how poor their performance was and that they probably made the wrong decision by selecting guys out of form, like your Adam Fanor-Blakes and your Stephen Crichtons. Crichton was awful and Adam Fanor-Blake did nothing. Blake Brayley's away here. Blake Brayley right through the line. Right inside. Niva Peru will score underneath the post. And he's waited a long time to get his opportunity, and he will get his opportunity, and he will score 6-0 with a kick to come, and it's about to be an 8-0 ball game any moment now because it's basically right in front. What a run from Blake Brayley here, though. What a spectacular run right through the line. He caught the defence napping, and I'm telling you, Manly is showing signs in this game that it's similar to that game against the Gold Coast Titans. And if you're playing a better team than the Titans, who aren't going to make the errors like the Sharks team right now, when they're on, they are ruthless. When Cronulla are on, they are absolutely ruthless. But when they're off, they are relentlessly bad. If they're on here tonight, they're going to win this by a lot if Manly keep playing the same way they did against the Titans last week. 10 minutes gone here, 30 minutes to go the first half. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. Marcel says Brayley has to start for the Blues. I really like how they implemented him actually on the weekend. I don't mind the duo of Reece Robson and Brayley. Brayley comes on at the perfect time with a bit of speed. I'm not going to lie, I hate the new rules that make the game faster and higher scoring. Should have left the game the way it was. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sure, but this has been a conversation we've been having for like 6 years now. Brayley consistently been top 5 hooker in the past few years. I'd say he's been top 3. When you say top 5, you're suggesting he's 5th. If you say top 4, you're suggesting he's 4th. If you say top 3, you're suggesting he's 3rd. I would listen to an argument for top 2, top 3. Harry Grant's 1, and then you can make an argument for top 2, top 3. I think top 5 is pretty rough. I think that's super low. Like who are the 4 guys that you would have above him then? So I'm assuming you've got Harry Grant 1. I guess surely you wouldn't have been saying Reece Robson at the Cowboys, but I guess maybe you could have been looking at like a Wade Egan at the Warriors, maybe. Who else have we got that we could be thinking about here? I don't think you'd go for anyone at the Raiders. You're definitely not going with Sam Verrills from the Titans. I don't think you'd be putting Ben Hunt, the Broncos, above him. I really don't. No, you wouldn't be saying Crossland. You definitely wouldn't be saying anyone at Manly. Mitch Kenny, maybe. I would listen to a Mitch Kenny. Pasco 2, Verrills 4. Oh, God. Pasco 2, Ollie. Yeah, that's fair. I wasn't actually thinking that part. I was thinking he was 2 or 3. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because 5, I feel like it's just too low. Freddie Lussick is not getting added into this conversation, Edson. So the Sharks now will bring this ball to the 20 on second tackle. Damien Cook and Jacob Little. And Annie is drunk here. It is Friday, Super Friday, though. A little bit of Friday night action, Annie. Fair enough. Have a few brewskis. It makes sense. I might even have a brewski myself tonight. Adam Fanor-Blake, he'll get this ball to the 35 on fourth tackle. Bradley Start and Robbo if we need him off the bench with McLean. What has McLean got to do with this conversation? So Braden Trindle, he'll kick this ball down to the 5. And Faulalo, he'll take it out to the 10, then the 15. It'll be first tackle. 1 Harry, 2 Brayley, 3 Reece, 4 Egan, 5 Appy, 6 Cook. I personally would not be putting Appy that low. Go out to the right and Manly. Josh Felitti. Josh Felitti nearly gets away here. He'll be taken down second tackle here at the 20. No, they're going to say it's still play on here. Well, I don't know about that call. Todd Smith, he did actually have an arm on him and he was on the ground. So why is he allowed to get back up and run an extra 10 metres? Don't know if I agree with that, Todd. And Ben Trebojevic now will be at the 35. They get very lucky there. No, Damien Cook's ridiculous, by the way, Ty. To say Damien Cook's in the top 6 is insane. Damien Cook is nowhere near the player that he once was. 6 again, him and Manly. Okay, Todd. Yeah, I see you, bro. I see you. You've given them an extreme benefit in regards to being allowed to get up off of the ground and run an extra 10 metres, and he gives a 6 again on 4 tackle here. So Manly at the 48, and now they'll be at the 40. Oh, he gets the offload away there, Garrick, off the Simpkin. Luke Brooks, and Brooks is going to be at the 45 on second tackle. And Jackson Sherab here, God bless him. He's having to come off the field. Maybe it's a HIA here. If you think Ben Hunt is currently better than Brayley, then you can be officially diagnosed as a Dragons fan. Well, no, I think the question is that they won the premiership last year. Ben Hunt was in the 9. He played a little bit at 7-2, but he was in the 9. Again, I don't have him there, but I can see why people may have been looking towards that way. But Brayley individually is better than Ben Hunt in the 9, yes. Hunt is a 40-20 threat, though, which can't be said for many modern day 9s. Sure, but there's a lot more than just a 40-20 threat, but sure. Tony Lepaseka, good offload there to Simpkin. He gives it to Fogarty. Fogarty here at the 40 gives it to Ben Trebojevic, and Ben Trebojevic is going to be at the 30 on third tackle. Corey Scans, I rewatched most of the 2005 Origin game 3, and because there's less penalties, the pace was brutal. I don't understand how the game is fast. Oh, shot! And Manly knocked the ball on, and here comes Cronulla. Stone Street whacks into Ruben Garrick, and Cronulla will get the ball after a Manly knock on. It is all shark right now. I don't understand how the game is fast these days, to be fair. I don't know the details of the game that well. Because of the 6 agains. So the 6 again keeps the fluidity of the game rather than the penalties, right? So when you've got the penalties, it stops the game. The opposition team walks back to their area or jogs back to their area. The team with the ball decide when to kick it over across the sideline. Then you've got to wait for them to get up and then they play it out, right? Whilst the 6 agains will keep the ball in play, it'll provide more sets, it'll provide more tackles, and it will keep the ball moving. The fluidity is there, and that's why the speed rises. 6 again for the Sharks, as we say that at the 45, first tackle. So now this is turned into, from what would typically be a 6 tackle set, they had 1 tackle there. This is now a 7 tackle set. If they get a 6 again at the 4 tackle here, it will turn into a 14 tackle set, if you know what I mean. So that's why it's faster, and there is just so much more ball play in the game, which is making the speed. That's the explanation. Do you understand what I'm saying? So Cronulla now left-hand side, Blake Brayley to Cameron McInnes, and McInnes is going to be at the 30 on 4 tackle. 6 again. Okay, there you go, on 4 tackle. I called it as well. So that means that there was 1, and then they got those extra 4 tackles. So that's 5 tackles there, and now they've got a fresh 6. So this will turn into an 11 tackle set. That's a perfect example of what I was trying to say. Will Candy right inside, then there's a knock on there from Mulatalo. So they won't get the benefit of the 11 tackles, but if they had have held the ball there, they would have got an 11 tackle set. Sharks not being better without Nico allegations. They're not beating better without Nico allegations happens every time. Sure, but it's not true. That's fine, but it's not true. Got his head in the wrong position for a tackle and took a whack. And he says, I turned on Ben Hunt in 20... Oh, of course you did. You're a Dragons fan. I turned on Ben Hunt in 2024 when he talks about his best mate Anthony Griffin getting sacked. I think that realistically it should just be about the fact that he was publicly, as your captain, saying that he didn't want to play for your club. That would probably be my thing. I wouldn't really care about Griffin. I would care about the fact that he just publicly was saying, as your captain, that he didn't want to play for your club. That was disastrous. Random take, maybe it's just the appearance similarity, but does Trindle remind you of Tyrone Roberts? You're off your rocker. So they're going to go 4 tackle now to the 45. At the 45. Thoughts on Andrew Abdo leaving the NRL? I just came in, just in case someone mentioned that news. That's interesting. It's really out of the blue. There's a knock on from Ben Trebojevic, and Manly, unfortunately, are looking a little bit rubbish right now. Will Candy, he's going to bring this ball to the 42. I'm telling you, and I said this before the game, there's a worry that Manly come into this game exactly how they played the Titans, and if they play a better team than the Titans, they would have lost by a lot that day. First tackle here for the Sharks at the 45. 25 minutes to go, the first half. Abdu leaving is very random. Very, very random, but it'll be interesting to see who gets next. I think that's touch there for Manly. This should be another set. Yep, it is. So that will be... Is it a knock-on or is it... Yeah, it is. 0 tackle. I don't know if it touched his shoulder or whatnot, but at the end of the day, they still call that as played at. So first tackle here for Cronulla at the 38. It is all Sharks right now. Sammy and Drinkwater next week saw it into the 8. Sammy and Drinkwater are not guys that are just going to saw a team into the 8. You'll definitely, surely, hopefully be a little bit better, but Sammy, he gets criticised a lot at the Gold Coast. I love him. He's a great character and a great bloke, but I have to criticise his playing skills as well. Billy Burns will be the 15. I have to be fair to you guys. Trindle now at the 20. He's at the 15. Sharks here moving the ball. Adam Fanor-Blake now is going to be at the 10. I know you're a Dragons fan, so you've got high hopes, but I'd be realistic with you as well. Third tackle here at the 10. Blake Brayley's going to go to the left-hand side. 2, Braden Trindle. Trindle bobbles it. He gets away from 1, and he'll be taking down 5 metres out. 4 tackle now for the Sharks. They give it now to Adam Fanor-Blake. Fanor-Blake. Niva Peru. That was awful from Peru. He threw the ball straight to Lee Habawade, who catches it, and he'll be taken down to the 15 on first tackle. That was an awful pass there from Niva Peru. I know what he was trying to do is trying to get that speed and that pace into the game to get the ball out to the wing from Mulatalo, but you need to know where you're passing the ball. I don't even think Lee Habawade was reading that ball, Sundo. I think that was just a really, really poor pass there from Peru, which landed into the hands of Lehigh. Like, he was just in the line there waiting to make the tackle, but the ball just kind of fell to him because it was such an open, easy pass to him. It wasn't like a pacey ball. It was straight to him and straight to his hands in the perfect position. Fogarty on 4th tackle here. He's going to have a massive kick. Will it sit up? Will it sit up? Will it sit up? No, it's going to go out for us. No, it's a beautiful kick from Fogs. Wow, Will Candy, he's going to have to get out of the in goal here. He gets away from 1, and he gets his ball to the 10. Well done from Will Candy. He waited a long time. It sat up just inside the in goal, about 3 metres away from going for a 7-tackle set. And Candy had a lot of work to do with 3 Manly players rushing up in the line, but that's a great momentum change there from Fogs. NIH says, Shopro, new fan, get around you, sir. Mulatalo, he'll take this ball to the 20 on 3rd tackle. Other says the 6 again has reduced a lot since Abdo leaving recently. I think that's teams adjusting, man. I don't think that has anything to do with Andrew Abdo. 4th tackle now at the 33. That's just teams trying to adjust. Rugby League Therapy says, such is a gambling influence on NRL. I wouldn't be surprised if Hammy from Sportsbet is the next CEO. Stop it. Blake Brayley, he's got a bit of space, but he'll get taken out at the 50 on 5th tackle. Still a good 50-metre set here from the Sharks. Yeah, 47 metres. Still a fantastic set there from Cronulla. And if that sits up, that's a brilliant kick, and it will sit up in the end goal, so it forces Clayton Falala to bring it out from within, and he'll take this ball to the 10 on first tackle. NIH says, Sharks to win just so it keeps Manly away from the Wars. Yeah, good point. If you're a Warriors fan, you definitely would be looking for the... Like, obviously, I'm looking forward to that game. We'll have a lot of people here on Sunday. It's going to be wild. We have a massive New Zealand audience here. But that is a good point as a New Zealand fan, that you would be wanting the Cronulla Sharks to win this game. Even though the Sharks did beat New Zealand earlier this year, but you don't want Manly anywhere close to you, and the Sharks wouldn't. They wouldn't be. They'd still be 4 points off you, even with a loss. 2nd tackle now for Manly after a 6 again. They'll be at the 45 on their own side of the field. Warriors' easiest game coming up on Sunday. Yeah, sure. Ben Trebojevic, whatever helps his sleep at night. 3rd tackle now, 45. Speaking of which, who was the team that knocked out the Warriors last year? Oh, Teague Wilton. That's a penalty, surely. Yeah, absolutely. Teague Wilton has completely tackled him off the ball here. Jeez, you heard that one. 20 minutes gone in the first half, 20 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. 8-0 to the Sharks, but Teague Wilton, this is absolutely a late hit there on Fogarty. He's whacked him from behind. Yeah, send him off. Send him off. Come on. Bunker, I want you to say it's just a sin bin, and then I want Todd Smith to call it as a send-off. Send him off. You cats. Send him off. No, it's not a bin, Sunder. Ashley Klein probably is a send-off. Ashley Klein's probably a jail sentence at Alcatraz for the next 20 years, that. First tackle here for Manly. Their first attack and opportunity here for the Seagulls. They give it to Jay Trebojevic, and Jay Trebojevic, he's going to be at the 10 on 2nd tackle. They don't have the tackle count on the screen right now. Simpkin to Taniela Paseka, and he'll be 5 metres out. Not a fantastic run there at all. 3rd tackle now. Simpkin to Jamal Fogarty. Fogarty gets this ball across. Ruben Garrick. Oh, not much going on here. Luke Brooks, he rolls it around, but he'll be taken down to the 10 on 4th tackle. Not a whole heap going on for Manly. Luke Brooks gets it to Hetherington, to Jamal Fogarty. Ben Trebojevic, he'll be 5 metres out from the line. 5th tackle. 6 again here for Manly, eh? 6 again on 5th tackle. Wild stuff. So Jay Trebojevic now on 2nd tackle. He's going to be 4 metres out here from the line. Well, perfect opportunity, Manly. Simpkin, Ben Trebojevic. What on earth was that from Braden Trindle? But he saved the day too. Awful defense from Trindle, but he also scrambled to save the day from Ben Trebojevic, who I predicted as a try scorer today from getting over the line. Simpkin's going to push this ball back. 3rd tackle. Kobe Hetherington's going to run it himself. 4th tackle now, 5 metres out. I can't believe it. I thought he was over for all money there, Ben Trebojevic. Now they give it off here to Jamal Fogarty. Fogarty gets it across to Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks gets it out. What a shot! What a shot! What a shot there for Moini Hiroti, the future Gold Coast Titan, baby, on Clayton Faulalo. Ruben Garrick's gone short. Ruben Garrick's having an absolute stinker right now. Ruben Garrick is having a stinkfest deluxe right now. 6 again here for Manly because the Sharks players touched this. Luke Brooks goes to the left-hand side. Luke Brooks goes through, and he'll be taken down to the 10. Wow, if Cronulla can hold it out here, amazing, because the Sharks player has touched that on an awful play from Ruben Garrick. Josh Felitti, he's going to run this ball to the 3 now on first tackle. Damn, Manly gets super lucky just then with that 6 again. After another, they had a previous 6 again. Paseka, you got to show more, though, on this line right now. Second tackle, 3 metres out. They Simpkin to Jamal Fogarty, and there is a player from Manly who was taking out a Sharks player there. Can't believe there wasn't a penalty there. They offload the ball here to Kobe Hetherington, and Hetherington, he will get taken down 5 metres out, third tackle. Jake Simpkin, he'll get it across to Jamal Fogarty. Fogarty now, chance here. Clayton Faulalo will score. Clayton Faulalo will score. Now, I will say that they were given absolutely everything to score this try, but they do score regardless. At the end of the day, when you are getting pressured that much in defense because, 1, the touch ball, 2, the multiple 6 agains that the ref gave and push them all the way up the field, like Manly, you had to do it. And this is why we had such a complaint with Queensland yesterday in the women's game, because or New South Wales yesterday in the women's game, because they were on the line for dead set, like 10 sets, 14 sets, and just weren't scoring. Finally did score in the end. It took them a long time to get here. So I really haven't been impressed by Manly. Even after that try has been scored, I still haven't been impressed by Manly whatsoever. But they will score at the very least, and it's going to be 8-6. Sano says they needed that. The defense held up well, but there's only so much you can do. I don't even think Manly really did anything, though. Like, Sharks have been fine defensively, but I don't even think Manly really did anything. The Sharks ended up missing a tackle there, and Faulalo runs through. But overall, I don't really think that there was anything spectacular that Manly really did across any of those 3 to 4 straight sets that they had on the line just now. That would have got a 20 tackle set and send off in Origin. Yeah, well, like at the end of the day, it absolutely was a penalty against Teague Wilton. The 6 again originally I would have debated on the fit tackle, but then the other fit tackle one was touched by the Sharks, so that just completely makes sense. As Faulalo scored a try in all his matches, he's been good. He has been good. All right, so Ruben Garrick here. Well, the 2 points is maybe making a little bit of sense right now. Sharks must have felt like a close game was on point, and right now it is going to be... No, it's not. It's going to be 8-4. He's going to miss the kick. Gonna miss the kick there. Mundane attack there. Just played the numbers, but nothing special from Manly. Yeah, 100%. Like, at the end of the day, they get the try, but I really haven't been impressed by Manly at all here today. Nivai Peru is just going to get done there, and Moini Hiroti was holding out for his centre on the other side. Nivai Peru's got to do better. He's got to be the one to make the tackle there, because Hiroti is waiting for the centre pass, and he could have come back in, and then as soon as he does that, Faulalo just passes the ball. So ultimately, that is on Nivai Peru, and even though he has scored a try here today, Nivai, which was great on the follow-through, he also did throw that pass straight to... I think it was Lee Hapawade. And then, so Jackson Cherry passes HIS and he'll come back. So he threw the pass straight to Hapawade when they're on the attack, and then it's missed that tackle there. So it's not been spectacular, but at least he did score that try to take the lead to 8-0 at the time. Yeah, Garrick's been awful tonight, Edson. He's really had a stinker so far. But Manly, Taniela Paseka, strong run here to the 15 on first tackle. 16 minutes to go the first half. And now they'll be at the 20 on second tackle. Garrick got so lucky because he was going... Oh, another 6 again here. Todd, please get the whistle out of your mouth, bro, please. I beg. We're just seeing this game turn into Manly 6 again all over. So they go to the left-hand side. Now, I'm not surprised as well, though. Sharks can be all disciplined, but it's just 6 again is really tick you off for anyone. Second tackle now at the 38. And it'll be third tackle. Jake Jaboyevich will beat the 50. And they'll go out to the right-hand side to Luke Brooks. And Luke Brooks will be at the 45 on fourth tackle. 15 minutes left here. They do seem a bit better right now to Manly. And they get this ball off to Jamal Fogarty. Jamal Fogarty goes out to the right-hand side. Will Candy will make the tackle, though. Well, Hiroti really makes the tackle. But Manly are waking up a little bit in this game. They go short side, and that was absolutely awful. Ruben Garrick will get taken down on fit tackle here at the 5. I don't know. They're really loving the short side play here. So again, you've seen this in the last set, well, the one just before the try, where on fit tackle, Ruben Garrick wanted to go extremely short side. It seemed like there was only about 5 meters between him and the line, and he wanted to pass it to a winger who wasn't there. So he was forced to cut it back, and because he was forced to cut it back, there was a Sharks hand that touched it, gave him the fresh set, and then they scored. Well, they've tried it again here, and they've tried to go down the short side, and it hasn't worked at all. I don't know what they're seeing there. There's no space, and the Sharks defense is completely ready for that short side play. Cronulla now, Billy Burns brings the ball to the 25. That should be a 6 again. And he doesn't call it. Well, Todd, you do have to call 6 against of both teams here, son. You do have to call the 6 against of both teams here. So that's going to be a kick from inside the 40, but Manly will grab this ball here at the 20, and Clayton Faulalo is going to bring this ball here to the 35. Todd, if we see a 6 again here for Manly on this set, I'm going to question it, because we've now seen a couple of times the Sharks have probably earned one. They're not getting it, but yet Manly are getting ones pretty quickly. Garrick doesn't get a New South Wales contract. Call it. Bloke is terrible. What's Garrick's not getting New South? What's New South Wales? What are we talking about? Oh, he's giving it a 6 again. I'm sorry, but Todd Smith, you got to settle it down, man. You've got to really settle it down. It's starting to look a little bit biased here. We are seeing him just walk Manly up the field, but we've just clearly seen a 6 again that wasn't called for the Sharks, where they were all over them for about 3 seconds. Manly now are going to get this ball here to the 30 on third tackle. Todd, you've got to call it both ways here, champion. You've got to call it both ways. Third tackle here at the 30. Ruben Garrick is trying to claim a high tackle. You've got to call it both ways here. So they get it, Jamal Fogarty. Fogarty now gives it across, and they'll be at the 25 on 4 tackle. Todd was a Manly fan, by the way, up the one he says. What was he? So Simpkin to Jamal Fogarty. Jamal Fogarty to Ben Trebojevic, and Ben Trebojevic is going to be 18 metres out here from the line. They roll this ball back, and it's Jake Simpkin to Jamal Fogarty. And Jamal Fogarty is going to kick this ball down here. That's caught by the Sharks. And 3 metres out, the Sharks will have the ball on first tackle. All right, well, let's see how Manly are in the tackles here, and let's see if it doesn't get called. So Cronulla at the 9, second tackle. And Mulatalo will bring this ball to the 20. Good run there from Ronaldo Mulatalo. And now Hazelton, big run here to the 30. Good post contact. 1, 2, 3, 4. How is that not a 6 again, Todd? And there we go. He's called it. He's called it. You like the one where I counted it from the start, and he actually does call it this time. 6 again here for the Sharks. Well done, Todd. 6 again for the Sharks again. Okay, now we're starting to get into a little bit more of an actual call game. So first tackle here for Cronulla at the 45, and they go to Teague Wilton, and Wilton's going to get this offload away to Blake Brayley. So you know what that tells me? It tells me Manly recognised they weren't getting called for the 6 again on the previous set, decide to hold down a little bit longer to chance their luck, and unfortunately the luck's gone against them, and they've held down a little bit too long, and Todd has then called it. So now they'll revert back to the original. Do you see what I'm saying? Blake Brayley now is going to get this ball to the 10. McKinnon, he gets the offload away, and Braden Trindle. Trindle underneath now to Billy Burns, who's looking for something. He's moving, and he'll be taken down here at the 13 on 4 tackle. And they give it across here to Hazelton, and Hazelton's going to be 4 metres out here from the line on 5th tackle. Blake Brayley. Trindle kicks it through. Dropout. Dropout coming up. Someone says, wait, is this a new rule? I've been away for too long, only 4 seconds for a tackle. Now, it's all about the second attempt at it and holding the tackle down too long, because you've got to allow the player, as soon as you make the tackle, you're actually meant to get off immediately. You're not meant to sit on them at all. That's technically the rule. You're not actually allowed to line them whatsoever. But referees do allow it. 4 seconds is English Super League territory, by the way. That's going down. That means the ball is getting around. If you're holding the tackle there for a good, 4.5. If you're holding the tackle 4 seconds, you're not able to play that ball for a good 5 to 5.5 seconds. The average speed of a play the ball is about 3.4 to 3.59, and we're talking about going up towards the 5. So 4 seconds is way too long in regards to holding down so that he can't play it, because he can only play it after he's been released, and then you're not getting up. You probably take about a good second to get up. So you don't understand what I'm saying? Third tackle now at the 9. 10 minutes to go here, the first half, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Blake Brayley gets it off here to Trindle, and not good play there from Cronulla. It's going to be Nivai Peru taking it down here at the 9. That was Trindle's fault, though. It was too slow pass. Bit of a hospital. 4 tackle at the 5. Todd Smith's going to tell him to go back on the mark here, so he'll go back to the 7. And they go Cameron McInnes. McInnes here just running around. Surely Manly defend that. Absolutely. 5th tackle at the 2. 10 minutes to go. Blake Brayley, he'll get it to Trindle. Trindle, short ball into the line. Teague Wilton, he throws the ball at the back, and Manly are going to knock the ball on. Manly are going to get unlucky here. It was actually pretty good defense there, but Manly are going to get unlucky, and they're going to knock this ball on, so the Sharks will get a fresh set of 6, 10 metres out from the line. Also thoughts on the Titans signing Jesse Arthurs from the Broncos as a good, decent replacement for Philip Sami. We've got Mwani Hiroti coming in. At the end of the day, Josh Hane's from the Sharks. Hiroti is here. I think Hane will play him. But he'll probably... It'll be interesting to see what they do, whether they do go with a guy like Arthurs or they go with Silatili Faimani or they go with Jensen Tamapio. They probably will lean with Jesse Arthurs there on that wing rather than those two guys. So it's not even necessarily for Sami for mine, because I think that Mwani Hiroti is going to be the replacement for Sami. Sharks now 10 metres out. It'll be Blake Brayley. He'll get it across to Jesse Colquhoun. And they'll be 3 metres out from the line, second tackle. And roll it back to Blake Brayley. Brayley gets it across to Braden Trindle. Trindle here underneath Teague Wilton. Wow, that's poor defense, Manly. Oh, that's way too easy for Teague Wilton. Way too easy. That Manly defense was poor. So, no, when we criticise what Manly did before, Manly's attack wasn't great, but they still found a way to get over the line. Well, that, Sharks, you've been gifted a free try there. You've been gifted an absolute free try. Yeah, Brenton says that was soft, Manly. Braden Trindle's got the ball here at the 10. He gives it to Teague Wilton underneath, and Teague Wilton's just going to walk past Nathan Brown. Nathan Brown, that was really poor. Favalalo, you can't blame Favalalo as the fullback for not making this tackle. It's a one-on-one tackle there, literally 3 metres out, because Nathan Brown has completely missed the tackle, and Teague Wilton, all he needed to do was put on a little bit of a step, which is what we talked about with that Women's Queensland Origin in Game 2. And he scores the try under the post, essentially. So that's poor defense there from Nathan Brown that just completely allows the Sharks over the line and to take back a more than 6-point lead. Yeah, Blake says Nathan Brown, yikes. That was a big yikes. That try shouldn't have been scored. But it was. Yeah, he walked over Marcel. He absolutely walked over there. Well, don't forget, guys, we do have 3 games tomorrow. 3 games. Big day. Knights versus Eels, Tigers versus Bulldogs, and Storm versus the Roosters. Storm Roosters will be great. Tigers Bulldogs is interesting. And then Knights versus Eels really should be a blowout, son. Should be a blowout-y. Jawiz Eels fans. Jawiz. Gary says, mate, I need a large coffee now. Bacon sandwich with usual... not the vinegar sandwich again. Not the vinegar and bacon sandwich. No, we're not doing this again. Shocking defense. Definitely need the coffee. But the old vinegar sandwich, I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. The pepper, love it. Not here for the vinegar sandwich, mate. And they will get the kick. So it is 14 points to 4 to Cronulla with 7.5 minutes to go here of the first half. And he says, wouldn't mind Jesse Arthurs at the Dragons. We need some decent outside backs. Yeah, but the thing is that you're getting... So next year, your back line, right now, off the top of my head, tell me if I'm wrong, but I would go Scott Drinkwater fullback. Your centres, you're still going to have Val there, and I guess you'll still probably go with Moses Sully. And then your wingers are what? Phil Sami and... Who's your other winger? Shit. Oh, bunnies, you don't want to start this conversation. Gary's going to tell you, he's going to sell you a lie. Who was it? Gary, was it Jess? I think Jess was the one that did it, and you promised her an absolute lie that it was amazing, and she said you're a muppet, that it wasn't amazing. 7 minutes to go here the first half. Was it Jess or somebody else who tried the bacon and vinegar sandwich, and they said it was horrible? They said it was horrible. Jared says, time to grab my Coke Zero top up. Nah, that's what we're talking about, son. Cheers to that, baby. 4th tackle at 35. And now Adam Fanua. No, seriously for Talakai. He's off to Perth next year. He'll be the 50. Tui Polotu, unsigned for next year in Sloan. I forgot about Tui Polotu. Tui Polotu probably on the wing. And Manly will grab this ball here at the 20. I don't know what Dean Young does. It was you, Jess. Yeah, there you go. It was you. Yeah, take that, guys. See? You probably would have said, well, prove it, you know. Jess isn't here. Well, Jess is here. And Jess is ready to absolutely slap into you for an absolute dribble that is bacon and vinegar sandwich. Makes sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to anybody. It doesn't make sense to him. It doesn't make sense to him. And it definitely doesn't make sense to her. So it makes sense to nobody. Gary? Makes sense to nobody. So 4th tackle now. Gary says full English at weekends only. Well, technically it's a Friday. Start the weekend off right, mate. Get with the times. You got to get with the times, guys. Start the weekend off right. Bacon, eggs, full English breakfast. Slap it in. with the rain. You have to have an umbrella, though. You will need an umbrella. Oh, my gosh. The Sharks have dropped it backwards, luckily. And Sam Stone Street nearly gets away, but he'll hit the 15 on first tackle. That was very, very lucky there for Cronulla. Jason Saab's actually stolen the ball here. Jason Saab's stolen the ball. No, they're going to say it was a strip. Yep, they're going to say it was a 2 in the tackle strip. I was waiting for it. That was a really confusing play. Cronulla, you're very lucky. So Stone Street dropped the ball, went backwards, then runs it into the line where Jason Saab and Garrick are. Oh, they're saying that he was already on the ground and then he stole the ball when he was on the ground. Okay, yeah, no, I get it. Upmate says, honestly debatable, that was a knock-on. No, it wasn't. He's facing backwards. It's lucky. It's very lucky. Jared says, I've seen Brits douse their chip buddies with vinegar, but I haven't heard of that for a bacon sandwich. They've got an interesting eclectic taste, the old English, when it comes to the old food. When I come to England, I'm telling you, we will do our reviews, and you English, you better get ready for the reviews, son. I'm a professional. Absolute professional. Third tackle here at the 35. So you better be ready. And it's going to be Adam Fanor-Blake now brings this ball to the 30 on 4 tackle. Gary said, I don't think my doctors would approve of that, mate. Your doctors don't approve of anything you eat if you're eating it with vinegar all the time. They're going to get this ball to Molitano in the corner. Chance here with the bounce. Oh, it's going to bounce. Wait, try time for the Sharks. Billy Burns. There's my try score prediction. Billy Burns. I hope you guys took my Billy Burns selection because he has scored in the corner here. 18 points to 4 with a kick to come. 4 minutes to go. Jess says, I'm here at work, so just listening. Get around you. Edson says, I don't know where Jesse Colquhoun is. Well, Jesse Colquhoun is 14. So he's on the field at the moment. He is on the field, but Jesse Colquhoun is the 14. Billy Burns has been great here today, though. I'm telling you, I see a world in the very near future, and I mean very near future, whenever the contract is up, that Britain Okora will go elsewhere. I think Billy Burns has done enough to prove to me that he actually is their starting back row alongside Teague Wilton. I don't think Britain Okora is going to want to be riding the bench there for Cronulla. I don't think that Britain Okora did enough for Queensland, but at the end of the day, he is an Origin rep and an international for New Zealand. I think that a team that needs a back rower will probably come in for the likes of Britain Okora because Billy Burns has done enough to be the guy here. He has done enough to be the guy here. Would anyone disagree? Or would anyone disagree with that notion? Molitalo super close to a try there, but Clayton Fa'alalo just touches the ball before he can get there, and then Billy Burns puts it down. Including a large bacon sandwich on thick bread with vinegar and pepper, you'll love it. Listen, we're going to not douse it in vinegar. We're not going to do that. Up the Gold Coast Titans says Nikora at Titans. Don't like it. Don't agree. I do not think that the Titans are a team that should be paying big money for a guy. Not 1 second. They missed the kick, so we'll say 18 points to 4 here. 14 points, the difference with 2.5 minutes to go here of the first half. I don't think the Titans are in a position where they can pay an international and Origin now, an international and Origin player's contract, which would be a lot when he is out of form. He's not looking like what he once was, and you would be taking a massive risk on a guy that had form prior, but not now, and hoping for the future that he can return to it. I do not think that this club is in the position for that at all. Now, the back row is a weaker position here for the Titans right now with Beau Fermor and Chrissy Randall and Adam Mahal, and there's a lot of question marks in regards to the back row. So it's an absolute question that I entertain the thought of, because that is probably the biggest issue long-term right now at the club, because they have decided to go with the 6 and 7 of JC and Zane. So that's fine. They've got Oliver Pascal in the 9. That's fine. They've got Keanu there in the fullback. The centers are another question, obviously, but the back row for mine is probably the biggest question mark at the Gold Coast. And I get the thought process. I just don't think that you should be thinking about spending big money on a guy that is proven but isn't right now, if you know what I mean. So CSF Talakai is going to be at the 45 and 4th tackle. Rugby League Therapy Podcast says, I've heard Nikora has a respiratory problem and can't play 80 minutes anymore. Is that true? 5th tackle at the 45. Cooper Byers really good, just not enough minutes. Yeah, not back row though. He'd be 13 or prop. So they'll punch this ball up here to the 15. Fa'alalo under pressure. Does catch it though. Good take and be first tackle Manly with 1 minute and 50 seconds to go in the first half. And a microwaved beer. Well, that's more Germany, isn't it? I think the hot beer is more Germany rather than England, no? Manly will beat the 20 on second tackle. More like Germany and the Dutch and that part of the world. I think the English love a good cold beer at the pub, at the Brewskis. Gary says, Brett, not even the English would do that. Ice cold is best, mate. Yeah, I thought so. I'm pretty certain that's more Germany and the Netherlands and Belgium and the likes that like their beer hot when I go to Oktoberfest sometime, or when I go to Germany and Belgium and the likes at one point, and hopefully go visit the love of my life, Kevin De Bruyne. Damn, there is loud music from that festival outside. I know you guys can't hear it, but it is like shaking this apartment. And this is a massive apartment complex. But when I go there, I look forward to it. Like, a cold beer is the best, though. That's going to go over the dead ball line for a 7-tackle set here for the Sharkies with 56 seconds to go here the first half. I look forward to trying it, but it's not going to be my thing. Ice cold beer, a nice little craft ice cold beer is beautiful. Beautiful. What about a big unit like Paseka or Hazleton at the Titans? I think we've got enough front row forwards right now, man. You got Tino, you got Mo, you got Jimmy, regardless of form, and you got Cooper Bye, you got Curtis Morin. I don't think that's a thought process. Clubs need to figure out in regards to necessity, not in regards to want for mine. And Will Kennedy with a good run, and 6 again as well, brings the 45. Not that it really matters. 19 seconds to go here the first half. He's the 45. Do they think about a field goal here? And that's a great run here again from Blake Brayley to the 30. Offloads it to Mulatalo. Mulatalo's got some space here. Gets away from 1, gets away from 2. Gets it across now to Niva Peru. Niva Peru gets it across. Teague Wilton. Teague Wilton 4 seconds here. Pass the ball, Teague. Gets the offload away. Niva Peru off across here to Trindle. Trindle here. 15 metres out. Kicks it across. And it's going to be a try for Billy Burns, baby. Billy Burns, Billy Burns, Billy Burns, Billy Burns, Billy Burns, Billy Burns. Billy Burns with the try time right on half time, and it is 22 points to 4 with a kick to come. That is a great try from Cronulla to end that half. They've gone basically 80, 90 metres there to score that, and they've absolutely slapped that. Up the Gold Coast Titans has try of the week. Are we serious, brother? We've seen we're in the first game in the first half. We're talking about try of the week. It's a great try. That'll go down as a great try this season, to be fair. But nice little double there for Billy Burns. Beautiful. Jared says, Sean says beer in Thailand instead of a bucket of ice. Well, in Vietnam, they have this thing where it's like you put this massive chunk of ice, like the size of Antarctica, and you chuck it in your glass, and it just sits there and obviously slowly melts. But it's really annoying when you're like drinking it and the ice is like touching the top of your lip there. It's great though, because it obviously keeps your beer cold for a very, very long time, and it keeps your beer cold for a while. But it's just when you're drinking it and the ice is touching the top of your lip, it gets so annoying, man. It's so annoying. Eden says, I don't know how Sharks aren't mistaking Hazleton's head as the footy ball. He's that bald. Yeah, but he's not as bald as that bald muppet in the middle of the field on Wednesday. When we're talking about, like, I love Thomas Hazleton, bald, love him. Gaz in the chat, bald, we love him. Who else we got? Alex Caruso, beautiful bald man. Ashley Klein, don't ever talk to me. Makes me sick. Rugby League Therapy Podcast says, just fact-checked, and Britt Nakora has got structural impact injuries to his nose, poor nasal airflow, poor dude can't breathe properly. God bless him. Obviously, we're just talking about the observation on the field. We're not talking about him and all that kind of stuff, but fair enough, and God bless him. I hope he obviously can fight through it and keep on being the player that we knew he could be before, because he has been one of the best back rowers in the game. But first half, and Manly, or maybe we called this game correctly pre-game, Manly have come in playing a lot like they did against the Titans and the Sharks. They've come in looking to use this period of the year as a bit of a foundational momentum run, where they play the Dragons next week. They flogged the Doggies a couple of weeks, got Magic Round, they had the bye. They come here and beat Manly, and then they play the Warriors in a couple of weeks' time. The Sharks need to get on the front foot. They need to put themselves into the right place, and right now it's looking good, 22-4 up at halftime, and this is a perfect time when Manly are probably due a loss, and a convincing loss at that. There's still a whole second half to go, and Manly could still win this game, but at the end of the day, the Sharkies are playing well here, and even without Nico Hines, even without Kale Iro, even without Britt Nakora, they're still getting the job done, and that's a beautiful try there at halftime, which really will have changed Kieran Foran and Manly's processes talking at halftime. A try within the last 5 minutes of a half is always extremely brutal to get past, and that was literally on the siren just now, but they scored twice on halftime. And they scored 3 times in the last 10 minutes there. So you got to remember that the score was 8-4 until the 30th minute, and now it's 22-4. So 10 minutes ago, Kieran Foran's thinking, I'm going to go into that sheds and say, hey, listen, we're not playing our best, but we're only down by 4. Now, within 10 minutes, we're down 22-4. So the conversation is completely different. And the conversation 5 minutes ago was like, well, it's still only a 14-point game. It's it's still just underneath that 3 tries marker. And then now, right enough time, he's had to change it again. So you've had to change your game plan in regards to the second half conversation many times now. Kieran Foran, this is the time that you've got to come in and just find a way to get into these boys about what we just saw in the first half, because again, it's very similar to what we saw last week against the Titans. And if they played a team other than the Titans that day, they would have lost to mine. And they probably should have lost that day, but they didn't because the Titans made too many errors. So Sharks are a team that when they're good, when they're on, they're relentless. And right now they are playing relentless in regards to that last 10 minutes there. They're putting a score past them. Could they keep on going the second half? Well, when they're on, they are ruthless and relentless. But if they're off, they usually... I think the Sharks go on with this, but we'll look at the stats now. We'll go through it and see what's happening. So, guys, obviously hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. And don't forget, tomorrow we've got Knights versus Eels will be live for. We've also got Tigers, Bulldogs, and then we'll have the Roosters versus the Storm before Sunday. Some absolutely massive masterclass game for the Warriors and Panthers. Plus, also, you got Dragons, Broncos, and also you've got Raiders versus the Cowboys. So that's on Sunday. But let's get into it. So, 22 points for the Sharks. 4 points here for Looney. Don't you start me, son. Mentioning Klein more than 3 times while appear as a ref for the Titans game. Mentioned him twice. I will not mention him again. I will not do it. Don't make me lose my mind, Looney. I've already lost my mind. Don't do it. Don't crash me out. I'll crash out. I'm not going to read a single comment that involves that bald man's name ever again. Not going to mention his name. Bald man's fine. Not going to mention his name. But Nivi Peru, Teague Wilton, Billy Burns with the 4 tries for the Sharkies today. 2 from 4 on the conversions, but they did get a penalty with Braden Trindle locking that one down in the 3rd minute. And now Manly with 4. Clayton Failalo scored, but they did miss the kick. Now we go to the possession. 54% possession to the Sharks, 46% possession to Manly. The Sharks have just been running over the top of them. It's relatively close, but they've just been running over the top of them. 15 minutes and 10 seconds for the Sharks. Time possession, 12 minutes, 45 seconds for Manly. The threshold is 25 minutes. This is 27 minutes and 55 seconds of time and possession in this game. Very good, very healthy. You're seeing plenty of gameplay despite the fact that we're still seeing 5 tries in this game. That's really, really healthy. Now, completion rate, 92% for the Sharks and 88% for Manly. That's unbelievable for both these teams here. They're not making errors. 80% is the minimum that you're looking for. 92% for the Sharks is phenomenal. 24 from 26. Manly, 88%. Phenomenal. 16 from 18. You're not complaining in regards to completion rate whatsoever. Now, the runs for the Sharks are 107 runs for 1,012 run meters. I always tell you guys that if you ever make 1,000 meters in a half, you are at a success. Now, technically, you are 58 meters behind the 10 meters in average per run that you're looking for. You'd be looking for 1,070 meters. You're at 1,012. So that is a slight negative. But again, if you ever hit 1,000 meters in the first half, in a half, it's unbelievable stuff. And you're at 1,012. Whilst Manly, there are 77 runs for 663 run meters. So they are down by 107 meters on the 10 meters in average per run that you're looking for. They're also about 350 meters away from where the Cronulla Sharks are right now. The Sharks are running amok in regards to this game as we speak. And even if you gave the 30 runs here to Manly to put themselves up to an equal rating, again, they're down by 107. Sharks are down by about 58, which would probably correlate to about maybe 9 to 950. So if they had their extra 30 runs, you'd probably put them at maybe 920 actually. So the Sharks are clearly dominating this department. Now we go to the post-contact meters. 297 for the Sharks, 244 here for Manly. Fun fact, I would say Manly is winning this department. So they've got 29 less runs now, Manly, but yet they're only down by about 63 post-contact meters. With 29 extra runs, I would probably be putting them up at around that 310, which would be about 13 post-contact meters above where the Sharks are at. So for my Manly are winning the post-contact slightly, but the run meters they're getting disastrously smacked up in. Now, the line breaks 3-2 to Cronulla. That's pretty healthy there for both teams, but specifically for the Sharks. Tackle breaks, though. Sharks, fantastic defense here. Only 9 tackle breaks for Manly. 20 tackle breaks for the Sharks. So Manly above the average there for missed tackles. Sharks definitely in the advantage by a long way. Average set distance, this is interesting. So 25 metres and below is pathetic to the stream-off. 25 to 30 is disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is essentially perfect. 38.95 here for the Sharks. That's on the mid to upper end of the hitting the marker category. They're just doing the job with it. They're not hitting the great on a consistent level, but they are doing the job with a 38.95, and they're getting close. They are at the upper end of the average set distance there. Well, Manly were just at 37.5. They've actually just updated, whilst I was speaking about the Sharks just then, to 35.13. So they're just breaching into the doing the job category. They're very closely underwhelming, but they're just in there with 35.13. But currently, as we speak, the Sharks are up by about 3 meters on them. Now we go to the average play the ball speed. 3.19 seconds and below is extremely fast. 3.2 to 3.39 is fast. 3.4 to 3.59 is average. 3.6 to 3.79 is slow. And 3.8 and above is extremely slow. 3.3 seconds here for the Sharks is at the fast category, slightly into the fast category. Getting close to the average category, it's pretty normal. Manly's pretty normal. Sharks are in the fast category, whilst Manly at 3.55 seconds, which is the pretty normal, right in the middle of the average area. Getting close enough to the slow category, but there is a 0.18 seconds gap between Sharks and Manly right now, which shows the Sharks are doing a pretty healthy chunk better than what Manly are doing. That is a sizable gap in the game of rugby league in regards to a 0.18. I know it doesn't sound like anything, but it does. Anyway, so the offloads is 12 for the Sharks, 6 for the Manly Seagulls. That's a whopping amount of offloads for Cronulla. Manly, you need to lock the ball down. 12 is ridiculous. 12 is a disaster for Manly. You are seeing teams with like Parramatta who love an offload. They're not so much nowadays compared, but still, they love an offload. Their high markers are usually around the 8-9 offloads and a half. Cronulla are at 12 right now. That is outrageous. Manly are getting to a healthy number of 6, but 12 is outrageous. That is double the amount of offloads from what Manly have done. You go to the forced dropouts. It is 1-0 for the Sharks. Kick refusal is 100% for Cronulla, 60% for Manly. It's a pretty clean game from Cronulla right now, man. The effective tackle percentage, 85% and below is awful. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is hitting the marker, and 90% and above is basically perfect. 90.24% here for Cronulla, basically perfect. 185 tackles made. The typical average range is 160 to 180. 185 is above that. The 9 missed tackles is incredible. So they've had more tackles made than the average, but they've had well less than the 15 to 17 average missed tackles that you look for. So 9 missed tackles is 6 underneath the average. And then the ineffective tackles is 11. Now, this is above. Wow, Manly, that's disastrous. But 11 ineffective tackles, 5 to 7 is the average. So this is 20 bad tackles in the first half through 185 tackles made, which is above the average. 90.24% electric. Really good stuff from Cronulla. Well, it's about to be a different story for Manly. So 84.05%, they are in the awful category. 195 tackles made is only 10 more tackles made. Only 10 more tackles made than the Cronulla. They're above the average 160, 180 by 15, but only 10 more tackles made than Cronulla. But they've got 10 more missed tackles. So for every tackle made, Manly have got more than Cronulla. You can look at it as they've made a missed tackle for every single one of them. So 19 missed tackles for Manly, 15 to 17 is the average. They're 2 above it. But again, for every tackle made more Manly have made, you can essentially say that every single one of those tackles was a missed tackle. That's really showing you right now the sizable gap between these two teams in regards to a defensive structure. And then the ineffective tackles, the average is 5 to 7. I said Cronulla were all for 11. Well, Manly are at 18. That is horrific. I don't know if I think I may have seen one game this year where one team was above 20. Outside of that, 18 is unheard of. That is outrageous. So 19 missed tackles, 18 ineffective tackles. That's 29. That is 37 bad tackles in the first half of Manly. That is nearly a bad tackle a minute. That is putrid. That is putrid stuff. That is nearly a bad tackle per minute. That is wild. Manly's defense in this game has not been anywhere near up to scratch as what it needs to be. Cronulla's performance here has been really clean. So what you're seeing right now is a pure reference point to Manly are not playing well, whilst Cronulla are playing well. They're not playing exceptional, but they're playing well. Again, 1,000 metres, 90% effective tackle percentage, more offloads, more line breaks, better average set distance, faster play the ball speed, post-contact meters is debatable, but the better completion rate. Manly have gone down to 84% now for 16 from 19, more time possession. It's a very clean performance here from Cronulla. And then we go to the negative play that proves it even more. 3 errors here for Cronulla. 3 and below is really good. 4 to 6 is average, and 7 above is awful. 3, really good for Cronulla. 6 for Manly is getting up there. It's on the high end of the average of 4 to 6, but you can clearly see that, again, Manly getting beaten in this department whilst Cronulla looking clean. Penalties conceded, only 1 against the Cronulla Sharks, 3 against Manly. Ruck infringements, though, 7 against Manly, 3 against the Sharks. Inside 10 metres, 2 against the Sharks, 0 against Manly, and then 1-0 on report. So when it comes to infringements specifically of ruck infringements in inside 10 metres, it is 7 to 5 against Manly. In regards to penalties, it's 3-1 against Manly, so it would be 10-6 on an infringement count across the board of all three of those stats, which means that Manly have been a little disappointed and they're struggling here. And it's quite interesting considering that earlier on this game, I was looking at it and saying, well, I don't know why Manly aren't getting those 6 agains. Remember when I was criticising Todd Smith and saying, Manly were getting a couple of 6 agains and the Sharks weren't getting any. And I was like, well, this is ridiculous. Like, you can clearly see I even counted one of the times. And then obviously I counted one of them, and on that specific count, he actually did eventually call it 6 again. Well, it has changed that way, so Manly bit off a little bit more than they can chew, and now you're starting to see those 6 agains really come against them. And I was noticing it, and it's great to see that Todd Smith has noticed it. So Manly fans might try to question the numbers of the penalties and the infringements, but you can look at the errors, you can look at the ill discipline, you can see right now across pretty much every single stat that Cronulla Sharks have been the better team here today. They've been the more clean outfit, and Manly just haven't been up for it as we currently speak. And it does make sense. They are kind of due a loss. The Sharks are looking to use this middle portion of the season as a foundational plate with that second game against the Dragons next week after the win against the Bulldogs last week. This is a very, very important game for them to win, and you can see that they're taking it very, very seriously for that matter and to really push it forward. So we're seeing right now that it just simply does look like the Sharks should be getting this job done. I would be saying that when they are ruthless, when they are relentless, when they're good, they are ruthless and relentless. When they fire up, they just simply do know how to do it. So I'm going to still back him in for it. Yeah, I'm going to back him in for a 13 plus here. I think they're going with this game. But we'll see if Manly can wake up and find a way to get back into it in the second half. Jet says, I'm in Derbyshire. If you come over, we can meet up and I can take you out to view some places and maybe get a couple of rugby games in. Gary says, that's because we have the most wokest rate. Okay, we're not going to go down that path. Home the NRL says, pretty confident that we can defend this Manly side. It took almost 20 tackles on our line to score is pretty good. Yeah, and I said this at the time. When Manly scored that try, I said, well, I wasn't impressed by Manly there. Like, Faulalo broke through a tackle of Nivai Peru, which he should have been doing better in. But Faulalo, that try was fine. But Manly were given pretty much everything to get that try. And the Sharks just missed a tackle when they held him up pretty resolutely for a long time. So, no, I'm pretty happy with what the Sharks have been doing defensively here, and I'm pretty happy with what they've been doing attacking-wise, and we did see Manly fall apart at the back end of that first half. They need to really wake up in the second half, but I think that the try that Manly scored, look, I don't think that it tells you a spectacular amount about them being like fantastic at all. Brenton says, Lay here is much better. Let's get off the politics, lads. Let's get off the politics in the chat. Tiger says, I really hate the Sharks. Why? Why? You know what's funny? I always find it quite questionable why people hate the Sharks. If you say it's because of the peptides, I get it. But the Sharks didn't win shit for 50 years. Like, they went from 1946, I think it was, until 2016. No, 1956? Or 1966? When did the Sharks come in? Anyway, long story short, they went 50 years. Might have been 1956. No, it can't have been. 1966? And maybe 1966 is when Cronulla came in. Because that would be 50 years, no, turn 16. 76, 86, 96, turn 6. Yeah, so it would have been 1966. So since then, until 2016, they never won shit. So why do people hate them so much unless you are unless you're a Manly fan from their grand finals over the years? Nowadays, I guess it can be Storm because of the grand final, plus also there's been a heated rivalry there. Raiders fans don't like it because of the Viking clap with Mick Henderson, all that kind of trouble. Sharks here, first tackle, 15 metres out. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe for new round here. 3 games tomorrow, 3 games on Sunday. Be here for them. But if you don't have a connection with maybe the Storm, Raiders, or the local rivalry of the Dragons, or it's not because of the peptides, it doesn't really make a great deal of sense to me because it's not exactly success that you would hate them for. Annie, yours makes sense as a Dragons fan. You're a local rival. Justin the Human says, Saab hadn't scored many this season, or has he been injured? He's been injured, but he's also not scored a great deal either. Worst bipolar team in the league. I'm losing every bet I put in their games. Well, I did tip the Sharkies today. I did tip the old Sharkies, but they are a hard team to read. I agree with you. Well, here's my advice to you. Don't bet on Sharks game. Oh, no. Sissy Vitalikai's gone down here. He's claiming that he's been hitting the balls. He's grabbing at his groin here. God bless him, man. God bless him. I don't think there's anything dodgy here. I don't think there's anything dodgy here. I think it's just unfortunate. Talakai... Maybe... I don't know. Maybe it's just an awkward as he's like doing a bit of the splits here, maybe? Yeah, it's the splits. Yeah, okay. He's doing a bit of the splits on the ground. Yikes. Manly need to up their game. Players coming in for 2 Origin players have an opportunity here. Others need to step up. Yeah, well, especially you've got to remember that the Sharks are playing without their halfback, Nicho Hynes, their $1 million halfback, and Nicho Hynes. They're also playing without their informed centre of Kaoliro and Britt Nakora, who was in Origin on Wednesday as well. So whilst Manly have some outs, Sharks definitely have some outs. And I would argue the most critical out of this game is Nicho Hynes. So it's like Manly do have their outs of Tom Trbojevic and Oleg Watts and whatnot, but I still think the most critical, disastrous out could have easily been Nicho Hynes, but the Sharks have found a way around that. Nivai Peru has had a 50-50 game. He scored a try, but he's also made a couple of mistakes. The one try Manly scored was off the back of one of his mistakes. But the Sharks have been able to control a lot more. Last week, again, Manly were very lucky to get in over the Titans, and this week right now, it's kind of showing that as well. They're not making the errors, but they're not looking exciting, that's for sure, in this game. And that's what we spoke about when they scored their first try. Like, there's nothing really that's excited you about Manly today. But this will be a massive testament to Kieran Foran if he had a great conversation with them at halftime and can find a way to get them clicking. And there's a lock on from Luke Brooks that tells you everything you need to know. Knock on from Luke Brooks, 4th tackle at the 45. So this is going to be a scrum feed to Cronulla. Sub with a hat trick and magic round, I believe. Sure, Jono. Against the Tigers, very injured. But yeah, you're right. Against the Tigers, very injured Tigers team at magic round. But I think you might be right. Sharks ball at the 45. Outside of the Warriors versus Panthers game this week, comment in the chat, what's your most eagerly anticipated game? I'm actually really looking forward to, funnily enough, Broncos Dragons, but because I think the Dragons won't lose by as much as people think, but they'll still lose, but not by as much as people think. And Tigers Bulldogs could be a cracker. Melbourne Roosters, I feel like Roosters are going to win 13 plus. I think they'll come in down to Melbourne and slap them. I don't think the Storm are the team people still yap on about. Hazleton's going to be at the 20 for the Sharks. They score here, it's over. If they score here, they'll win this game by 50, and Manly's season will be done. I genuinely believe it. If the Sharks go on to score here, right now, they'll probably end up scoring 50. 4th tackle at the 10. Blake Brayley, he'll get it to Trindle. Trindle now to Billy Burns, and Billy Burns with the 5. I'm surprised Ronaldo Mulatalo hasn't scored yet. And back to Braden Trindle. Trindle's going to kick this ball through. That's way too hard. That's awful from Trindle. Cowboys. Oh, that's a yikes game for mine, bro. I think that sounds like an awful game to me. Like, it could be a close game, but that game makes me feel a little bit uneasy. I don't know, man. I don't know how you're looking forward to that the most. This is where yeah, exactly right, Gaz. This is where we find out more about Foz on how he lifts these players on a good performance. Not a good performance that's 2 in a row. Yeah, it is. And penalty for Manly. Well, you got to turn this around a little bit. You got to find a way to turn this around right now. Great opportunity for you to turn this bad boy around. Great opportunity. Faders are cooked. Yeah, I don't know about how much excitement I'm looking for there, lads. I don't know about it. Broncos vs Dragons. Yeah, but you're a Broncos fan, Edson. Foran just said he wants the side to improve his energy. That's it. Yeah, the energy isn't there, that's for sure. All right, so we're just waiting. Garrick's down injured right now. He's grabbing it like his upper right ribcage area. God bless him, hope he's okay. I don't know if I'm looking forward or hard to pick is what I'm feeling. It's definitely hard to pick. Like this particular matchup, it depends on if they turn up. Yeah, it's a very difficult game to pick that one. Cowboys and Raiders in Canberra. Only teams you can trust to bet on are Panthers and surprising the Warriors. Wrong. The Warriors still lost to the Sharks and the Tigers this year. So Manly now get this ball here to the 30. Panthers, yes, but also lost the Bulldogs this year. The house always wins, man. Gambling isn't set up for you to be a millionaire. Let's put it that way. 3rd tackle now at the 22. They know what they're doing, bro. They know what they're doing. 3rd tackle here at the 20. They give it to Jamal Fogarty at the back. That's going to be a knock on here from Cronulla. And this will end up being a fresh set for Manly at the 20. I hope we lose. Why do you hope you lose? Do you understand how embarrassing that'll be for Brisbane if they lost to the Dragons, their first loss of the season? That'd be outrageous. That would be outrageous, son. I had a nightmare about Buck the Horse. What's happening right now? What is happening? It's just nice colours around you, Miss BKR. Yeah, look, no, great colours of Manchester City, mate. Great Manchester City and Gold Coast Titans colours. So Manly, 15 minutes away here from the line. Wise to have a 10 out of 10 game to sniff a win, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, for sure. That's a massive game. Manly, quickly, right-hand side. Folalo nearly lost that ball. Second tackle at the 10. All right, Manly, make a game of it here. Come on. Come on, Manly, make a game of it, son. Make a game of it, you cats. Make a game of it, you cats. Jamal forward to Nathan Brown at the Luke Brooks, Ben Trebojevic, and Ben Trebojevic will be at the 10 on third tackle. Come on, Manly. Come on, Manly. Luke Simpkin, Jamal Fogarty, Nathan Brown. He'll just be taken down to the 5 on fourth tackle. Really not rating Nathan Brown here this season. 6 again for Manly is crazy. Faulalo will be at the 5 on first tackle. That is crazy. Panthers cooked everyone's multi-magic round. Everyone had 1,000 try scorers. Yeah, that is true. They did. They still won by a good portion, though. Good margin. Manly will be at the 10 on second tackle. At the Bunnies, bro, don't make me roast you, man. Don't make me do this, man. Don't do it. You don't want to go down this conversation because you and I both know what my thoughts are of Wednesday. Don't do it, man. I say this now. We've had enough conversation about that for the time being. Lee Harper-White is going to get this ball to Luke Brooks and then Jake Trebojevic. My response to you in regards to Titans and Manchester City should have told you enough of what I'm talking about here. So, fourth tackle, they're going to give a penalty to Manly right now. Todd Smith is going to give a penalty to Manly. Do you know Manly has a top 3 defense since Foran took over? Is that true? Manly getting up 208 points. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Since Foran took over, they're probably top 2. I'd say Panthers still number 1, but you'd say top 2. I would assume. Ben Trebojevic! Try time! There's another one of my try scorers. Ben Trebojevic will score for Manly and it's 22 points to 8 here with a kick to come. Honestly, I've got to be honest with you. Todd Smith has really been getting them up the field, though. Both times they've scored, he's really gotten them up the field and given them a prime opportunity. But Ben Trebojevic will score for Manly and it's 22 points to 8 here with a kick to come. Pretty lethargic defense here from Cronulla. He should have probably been taken down a little bit earlier here. So Billy Burns rushes up, makes the tackle, and then bad defense. It should never have been a try. I'm sorry, Will Candy and Braden Trindle should have been doing way better here. He's run into the line here, Ben. Trindle makes contact at the 8. So does Cesar Talakai, and Will Candy should have been holding him there. Yeah, that was poor from Cronulla. The first contact with the player is made at about the 7 meters or so, and then he still finds a way to get over the line. Trindle, that was pathetic defense. Hopperway's not really done too much flames on games, but yeah, it is definitely a try here for Ben Trebojevic. So what's that? I've got 2 try scorers so far. Billy Burns, Ben Trebojevic, both back rowers. I went with Luke Brooks and Manly, and I also went with Molotalo for the Sharks. How many NRLs we're asking to get points put on us? Yeah. I'm getting annoyed by how many penalties and 6 cans we can give away. Manly gave away plenty of their own in the first half. All right, so 32 points to 10 with 31 minutes to go here in the game. It is a 12-point game. Still haven't been excited by Manly, but at least you get a try there to bring it back within 12. See, that's why that last 10 minutes of that first half was so brutal, because it was an 8-4 game at the 30-minute mark, and then at halftime it was 32 points. At halftime it was 22 points to 4. So it's just that last 10 minutes of the first half really killed you. Alrighty, so the Sharks now, they're going to kick this ball down to the in-goal where Jason Saab gets it, gives it off to Tanila Paseka, and Paseka, he's going to get monstered back here to the 8 on first tackle. 30 minutes to go of the game here, folks. 30 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Wrong Trebojevic, I need Big Jake to get over. Why are you putting money on Jake Trebojevic to score a try is my question to you. He's over the sideline. There's your error after points. It's not a knock on after points, but it's an error after points. The worst thing that can ever happen after you score is the cardinal sin of rugby league, an error after points. That is dreadful. Sharks will go back on the attack 15 minutes out. Why are you going a short side? This is great defensive from Cronulla. Why are you going a short side play here off of the set after points in your own 15? Why are you going a short side play here? If Sharks score this, I would agree with you there, Sundo. Yeah, short side's ridiculous there, Jono. You're telling me it's second tackle, 15 metres out from your own line, you're going to go short side after points. That makes no sense whatsoever. Run the ball up the middle through your forwards, or if you want one of your outside backs want to come in for a run it up the middle. Why are you going short side there? Made no sense whatsoever. And again, good work from the Sharks defensively, but still ridiculous from Manly side of things. All right, Sharks now. Blake Brayley to Tom Hazelton. Hazelton with a strong run. He'll be 3 metres out of the line, third tackle. Now, Blake Brayley, he's going to go to Braden Trindle. Trindle underneath to Billy Birds. He's already got a double. Going to get a hat trick. It'll be 4 tackle to 4. And Blake Brayley gets it to underneath. Does that 6 again? Did he just call? Did he just call 6 again? The commentator just said he called 6 again. I didn't hear it. Braden Trindle, this is fifth tackle. Oh, what on earth was this, Manly? What on earth was this? What, brother, no, brother, no. No, Manly, Manly, no, Manly, no. No, Manly, no, Manly, no, Manly, no. This is really bad. Braden Trindle has again walked through the line. We've seen a lot of tries tonight just walking through the line from both teams. He's actually gone over untouched from the main line. Faulalo does a great job here to try and hold him up, but he has walked through the line of Ben Trbojevic and Luke Brooks here. Neither one of them touched him. Neither one of Luke Brooks or Ben Trbojevic touches him in the line here. Faulalo cannot be blamed for the pathetic defence we've seen in the line, and Faulalo can be celebrated for giving it a red-hot crack in regards to trying to force Trindle here up. Obviously, Trindle does put the ball down. He does score it. But Ben Trbojevic and Luke Brooks, how can a player 6 metres out walk through the line without being touched in the middle of the field? We're not talking about in the wing. We're not talking about on the edges and the centres and whatnot. We're talking the middle of the field. Braden Trindle has gone straight through without being touched by either Ben Trbojevic or Luke Brooks here. How are you... Literally not touched, by the way. Not even a graze. Neither one of them touch him. Neither one of them touch him. Neither one of them put a fingernail on him. And I'm being literal when I say this. I'm not just saying it's a graze. That is exactly right, Gary. That is so poor. And that's a Manly fan. That's also really poor. Braden Trindle's having an awful night with the boot here. 26-10. He missed the kick. So it's still a 16-point game. Aussie Paceman says, first time Manly have been tested all year with Foz. They need Tommy Turbo back. Well, let's not pretend that Panthers didn't happen. You know, the Panthers game was 18-16. But yeah, this is probably the first time that a team's really taken it to them. And again, I will say the Titans took it to them last week, but the Titans had too many errors. If the Titans had 4 or 5 less errors, even if you go 4, they win that game. A missed conversion is what lost the Titans the game. Manly were not there last week, so it's kind of starting to seem like maybe they're coming back down to the pack a little bit, because it has been a really poor performance here. It was a really poor performance last week, but luckily the other team had an even more poor performance. Clayton Faulalo has been clearly the best player for Manly these last 2 weeks, regardless of the performance overall. They are starting to miss those players. I think it's pretty obvious at this point. You're starting to miss your Tommy Trbojevics, obviously your Ola Kawatus, your Tota Kuola, those kind of players. They're big players to be missing here. Ruben Garrick's had an awful game here today, and the Manly defense, when the Sharks have scored tries, they've walked through the line. Same thing happened with Manly. This has just been a really lethargic game defensively from both teams. Sharks have been really good for the most part, but also the tries Manly have scored have come off of really, really poor defensive efforts from Cronulla. Whilst for the majority of the game, Cronulla's defense has been really, really stout. So this is going to be a Manly ball here at first tackle at 22. And he says, yo, actually, it was bad defense. Didn't even try to tackle him. That's what I'm saying. They didn't even graze him. There wasn't even a fingernail that touched him. He walked straight through the line. And this is 5 metres out in the middle of the field. It's awful. Second tackle at the 28. Even schoolboys are told tackle the man with the ball, not who you think is carrying the ball. Yeah, but what my question is how do both players not do it? Like, surely one of them should have at least attempted. Why have they both... And if anything, Ben Trbojevic has got nobody else to be looking at. Luke Brooks does have his outside man to be looking at. So it's like, Luke Brooks is still a problem here, but he has got multiple options. Ben Trbojevic... because Luke Brooks was on his left, Ben Trbojevic was actually underneath. So the man on the outside actually has somewhat of an excuse that he's looking at the man going around. Whilst the man on the inside, you have nobody else to tackle. So how are you not even attempting to make that tackle, Ben Trbojevic? They're going to allow this ball to bounce here, and Saab's going to score. That's poor from Cronulla. We've seen some bad tries here today. We've seen some bad tries here today. So Manly are going to score. The Sharks allow this ball to bounce, and it just bounces perfectly for Jason Saab, and nobody is there, and it's a try time. Yeah, this game, we are seeing some awful tries. Aussie Pacers said the Sharks are missing Hines and Nikora. Hines, yes. Nikora is a bench back rower. He's not the player that he once was. Still missing him for sure, but don't forget Kale Iro is out in this game as well. But Manly are missing quite a few players. The Sharks should be a better team, but they are scammers for a reason. If they win this game, they'll go off of scam and go to fraud alert. But I will say neither one of the Sharks have definitely been the more convincing team so far today. Manly, I can't even believe they're here. 2 tries off of absolutely horrific defense, and then this try off the luckiest bounce in the history. But also, the blame does go to Cronulla for not catching the ball. I think I was right to say over 49.5 points total. Yes. Yeah, there's still definitely a few tries left in this one, Jess. I don't know what Stone Street's doing there. Home of the NRL, this has been a great performance from the Sharks, but also not good at all. Yeah, this is a bad defense try galore is what this tonight's game is. You're right, yeah. Would Manly be on fraud if they losing to a scam fraud? It's a great point you bring up. No, I wouldn't. If they went and lost next week, yeah. But no, I wouldn't do it after today. Oh, shut up, Mick Ennis. Oh, gosh. Ruben Garrick. I cannot believe Manly are within 2 scores here. It's actually insane. Cronulla, it's actually madness. Manly have been awful today. Cronulla, the fact that you are allowing this game to be a 10-point game right now is actually unfathomable. You have been, by far, clearly the better team here, but just defensive lapses are allowing Manly to stay in a game that they have no right to be in right now. No right to be in. Ruben's trying to get an early exit to the Roosters. Ruben Garrick would be lucky to play for the Minto Warriors at this point with how he's played in this game here today. Gary says, why didn't they put the ball down near to the post and need every point available? Well, they got the kick, but also because there was William Kennedy was there to cover the post. He had space. I thought Will Kennedy was right there, wasn't he, Brenton? I think Will Kennedy was coming in on the behind because Will Kennedy was away from the plane he came across. Surely Will Kennedy was blocking off the run under the post. All right, so Manly now, they're going to be 23 metres out even their own line. Cannot believe this is a 10-point game. Second tackle now, but at least it is a close one. They give it across to Brandon Wakeham, and Ben Trbojevic is going to be here at the 30. Gets the offload away to Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks has got a bit of space here. He's got a bit of space here. Manly are away. Manly are away. Manly are away. Manly are away. Luke Brooks back onto the inside. Jamal Foley kicks his ball through. He might actually score here. He is going to score. Sharks, you are fucking scammers. Sharks, you are a disgrace. I cannot believe that we are sitting here. You have dominated every single aspect of this game here, Cronulla. There is no way I'm taking... I don't even care if you win because you're not coming off of scam. There is no way that Manly have earned any right to be in this game, and Cronulla, yet again, you are allowing a team that has been god-awful to watch here today. God-awful to watch. The fact you are up 22 points to 4 at half-time, and yet again we are sitting here with Manly who have had there's no way they should be in this game. Cronulla, this is on you. Congratulations, Manly. Cronulla, this is on you again. You may still go on to win this game, but this is the Sharks scammers. This is the scamming team that we talk about every single week. This is outrageous. Cronulla fans, you should be through the roof pissed off with your club right now. Regardless if you've got outs, Manly have outs too. They have got worse stats in every single category. Every single category. God-awful performance from Manly. And yet it's going to be a 4-point game here, Cronulla. It's going to be a 4-point game. And this is why I'm crashing out. You are the biggest scammers in the history of scammers. Unreal. You are spectacular to watch because you are the most brain-defying team I've ever seen. So Manly going to make this a 4-point game. 26-22 here. With 22 minutes to go here the game. Scam Noah doing scam Noah things. That's exactly what they do, Annie. My gosh. Oh, did they just say Blake Brayley went off with a broken arm, did he? Oh, no. God bless him. Blake Brayley's gone off with a broken arm here. Justin Sutton says extremely valid crash. Yeah. Dude, Manly have been god-awful today. How are they in this game? Cronulla, you have actually been extremely solid. So that means Brayley's going to be out of Origin 2, by the way. God bless him. I don't actually understand. It's not fathomable that Cronulla do this every single week consistently. Craig Fitzgibbon, I am looking at you. How are you not getting the best out of your team? Josie Parsons, I legit thought the Sharks have won this already. So second tackle now at the 20 for Manly, and they're going to go out to the left-hand side here. And now be third tackle for Manly at the 30 for Benjamin Boyovich. Sharks scamming me more than people selling timeshares do. It's actually outrageous. Luke Brooks now to the 45. They're all over him now too, Manly. Like, it's amazing, Cronulla. You're amazing. You're amazing for all the wrong reasons. Amazing. He's lost the ball there, Manly. And it's going to be a knock-on from Manly. So it's going to be Sharks ball here at the 50. Well, that's amazing. They're going to challenge this here, Manly. I don't know if you should. Otherwise, says, I feel like it's an ego thing for the Sharks. That's really killing them every year. That's got absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you talking about? It's an ego thing. What ego thing? Where have you seen the ego from the Cronulla Sharks? It's got nothing to do with an ego thing. What? What's the ego thing? What are you talking about? He's just looking to lock the ball up. It's a loose carry there from Josh Felitti. It's the lost ball, so it's Sharks ball to 50. Fantastic, another injury for New South Wales. Thankfully, Klein's on the payroll. Exactly right, Mitchell. Time to call up Crossland for Origin. Oh, stop it. Crossland's Kiwi. They're just looking at all of it. It's going to be inconclusive regardless. They're just saying he's making a tackle there. He's not saying he's stripping the ball there. They're saying it's a loose carry. Well, if it's a loose carry and it's touched the hand of Tom Hazelton, that's called a knock-on every day of the week. Yeah, they're going to say knock-on. I would have said that it should have been inconclusive rather than unsuccessful. I think Manly should have kept their challenge because you could have made a debate that ball doesn't necessarily go forward, but they do usually call that as a knock-on. So it's a consistent call, but I would have liked him to see an inconclusive because you could have made an argument. Sharks hand in there. He's just looking to wrap up the ball, man. That's not a strip there from Tom Hazelton at all. Time for Badiris to lace up the boots and once again for game 2. Guys, you got Reece Robson who started for you. I'm technically happy if you want to bring him on too. So they go to the right-hand side, and Stone Street's going to be the 45 on second tackle. 20 minutes to go here of the game, folks, of another scam game from Cronulla. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Hazelton, third tackle here at the 44. They give it across to Jesse Colquhoun, and he'll be fourth tackle at the 40. They've made quite literally like 10 metres here on these first 4 tackles. Tom Hazelton, he'll bring this ball to the 25 on fifth tackle. He's had a really good game here tonight, Tom Hazelton. All right, they go to the right. And they'll put that ball up from Trindle. Multalo catches it. He throws the ball at the back. Still Sharks ball here. Then they lose the ball. And Manly will be at the 20. And I think that's 0 tackle. I think that was actually ended up as a knock-on, no? Yeah, no, it's first tackle. Okay, I would have thought that Manly should have got a knock-on there. No, they did. There was. They changed it from first to 0. So now this is first tackle at 25. Honey Earl says, as soon as Brayley left the field, we've looked at a step off the mark. Cronulla Sharks doing Cronulla Sharks things right now, unfortunately, mate. Second tackle here at the 30. Hold on. And now be third tackle for Manly at the 40. Neil, so I bet on Manly, but turned off at halftime. Can't believe what you're telling me after the first half. Oh my God. I tell you, the Sharks are doing Sharks things, man. The Sharks are doing Sharks things. Like, I still feel like they'll find a way to scam this victory too. That should be a 6 again there against Manly, but it's not. Second tackle now for Cronulla. They'll be at the 43 on their own side of the field. This is just Cronulla doing Cronulla things right now. Mulitalo. Oh, no. Oh, no. God bless him. Oh, no. Why is he struggling to get up here? Oh, no. He's grabbing his left knee. No way. He's come back from a serious knee injury. Mulitalo. This is not good here for Mulitalo. He's just come back from a long-term injury. Oh, this may be a penalty here. I don't know. Sometimes they call these penalties, sometimes they don't. This will be interesting. No, it should be fine. But sometimes they call these penalties, sometimes they don't. I think it should be fine. I think this is just unlucky for Mulitalo here. No one was putting $100 on Manly at halftime, Mr. Columbus. Again, the Manly Seagulls have been god awful to watch for the most part today, but they are in this game because the Sharks are the Sharks. All right, so Ronaldo will play this ball. I still think he's hurting here. He's still standing still. I wonder how he's moving now. Third tackle here at the 50 for Cronulla. I'm glad they didn't call any kind of penalty because you don't know with what the referees choose. You really don't know. And Cronulla will be at the 30 through Hiroti on fifth tackle. I can't even see Mulatalo. Is he meant to be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side? I think he's right-hand side wing. He's actually still out in the field. Manly will get the catch through Fa'alalo at the 5 on first tackle. They twisted him. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes they'll call that, sometimes they won't. They obviously didn't call this one. I'm okay with them not calling it. It's unlucky there, and it looked bad, and injury is usually what defines a severity of a penalty nowadays. So, forward tackle, should have sent him off. Forward tackle now at the 30. I put 50 on Jake to score. Manly was so bad at the half, I wouldn't have thrown money at that. Exactly, yeah. Manly, they've still been so poor, but yet the Sharks have allowed him into it. It was not a hip drop. So Manly at the 35, and Jamal Fogarty inside the 40. He will angle this one. He will angle this one. Oh my gosh, he's thrown back on the inside. Oh, no way, Cronulla. I'll actually throw up if you give this up. Kennedy's going to pick this ball up, and it's going to be... I don't think he went out here. If Touchy's flag's gone up here, I don't think he went out. I'd challenge this if I'm Cronulla. Do you have a challenge still? Did he put his foot out? No, his foot's in there. No, he's not. Challenge the call, Cronulla. Challenge the call. Challenge the call, Cronulla. Challenge the call. He's not out. Challenge the call. Challenge the call, Cronulla. Oh my gosh, they haven't challenged it. That's actually insane. Oh, you deserve to lose, Cronulla. This is you. This is Cronulla. This is Cronulla. You deserve to lose. Why would you not challenge that? Why would you not challenge that? Have you lost your challenge? Am I crazy? Has Cronulla lost their challenge? That's completely on Cronulla for not challenging that. Touchy's an idiot, but also that's completely on Cronulla for not challenging that. Jamal Fogarty out to Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks to Ben Trbojevic, and Ben Trbojevic is going to be at the 10 here on third tackle. That's completely on Cronulla. They go to the right. Simpkin out the back to Wakeham to Jamal Fogarty, and Jackson Sherrod now is going to be 5 metres away from the line for tackle. Ref was right there. It's such a bad call. Such a bad call, but also Cronulla should have challenged it. They would have won the challenge. And Manly now kick this ball through, and it's going to be Will Kennedy who grabs it. He gets away from one tackle. He's going to go to the in goal. Well done, Will Kennedy. Well done, Will Kennedy at the 5. First tackle. Sharks have one challenge left. There's a penalty to the Sharks. That's massive. Shut your mouth, Jamal. You're lucky to even be here, Jamal. You're lucky that Manly were even in this side of the field because the touchy made an absolutely abhorrent call that made no sense. Because live, I didn't think that he went out. I thought it nearly was ridiculous that he threw the ball back on the infield and it could have been a try for Manly, which is what we saw from the Bulldogs game last week against Melbourne with Jacob Kiraz. But that didn't happen. But the Sharks not challenging that call is just amazing to me. That is ball don't lie, Gold Coast Titans. That is absolutely ball don't lie. Yeah, they haven't even used their challenge yet. Insane to me. What are you keeping for if not for that? When you're only up by 4, you've allowed the Manly Seagulls to get a fresh attacking set 20 metres out, 16 minutes to go. When would you use it if you're not going to use it for that? When we all knew that wasn't out. Second tackle. Cameron McKenna's at the 34. However, Peru, left-hand side to Adam Fanor-Blake. Still haven't seen anything from Adam Fanor-Blake, man. He's been so disappointed this year. They go right up the middle here. Good run. However, Peru, fourth tackle at the 45. They go to Nivai Peru. He'll go to Jesse Colhoun, and that was a really poor run. Really poor set from Cronulla. I think it was that close, Kennedy didn't want to risk it. But it wasn't close. It was very obvious that he was in. I said it live. And I'm way further away than the touchy is. We're watching from a distance. We were watching from a distance with that. Whilst the touchy's right there. And we called it before we got to see the slowed down vision up close. I called it live. So if I'm doing that from here, how is he not doing it from there? Jamal Fogarty is at the 15. At this point, I will not be surprised if Manly wins this game by 2. Sharks a scam, bro. 4 tackle at 20. Garrick, he's had an absolute raucous game of the day. He's getting up slowly. Fourth tackle now, and they'll get this ball to Daniel Paseka. Good line here from Cronulla. Teague Wilton rushed up. Fifth tackle, 15 minutes to go. Leeds will get a close game here. If Kennedy looked up at the big screen, he would have seen. Well, you've only got 10 seconds to challenge, even though that 10-second rule doesn't really exist. But Will Candiel grabs his ball at 20, and he's going to bring this ball out now to the 35. He gives it off to Molitalo. At least he didn't have a serious knee injury, so he's sweet to go. First tackle at the 40. Now go to Sam Stone Street. And Stone Street's going to get this ball to the 42 on second tackle. Sharks score next, they go on to win. If Manly score next, they win. It's just as simple as that. Whoever scores next wins. Third tackle now at the 50. I don't think the Sharks have it in them to come back if they go down here. And I just don't. I think Manly's momentum's great right now, but if they give up one more try, I think they'll be a little bit too hard basket. Fourth tackle now at the 40. You go to the left-hand side. McInnes now at the 30. Player taking that without the ball there. Teague Wilton. Come on, they didn't call that. Fifth tackle now. 49-metre gain. So a really good set there from Cronulla. They'll kick this ball up in the air. I think that's been dropped back. Or is that a knock-on? It's going to be a Sharks try. Adam Fanor-Blake. We're going to have to look at this. I don't know. Adam Fanor-Blake scored. I think this is going to be a no try. I think Sharks touch this and goes forward, but they'll check it. They'll check it. I think first knock-on here will be from Cronulla. Sam Stone Street going up with two hands. Unheard of. Well, that's backwards, really, probably from Stone Street. Well, I want to see a side-on angle. Stone Street definitely touches it. Well, you can't blame Favalalo. You can't blame him for hitting Favalalo there when he's hit the ball like that. Oh, that's a knock-on. It's a knock-on 100%. A million% knock-on. You can't blame Stone Street's arm for hitting Favalalo's head as he's got the ball and knocked the ball down. If he missed the ball and hit his head, that's an absolute penalty. It's a knock-on, though. Play the ball here at the 10. That's completely fine. But you cannot blame Stone Street in the competition of the play hitting the head there. 14 minutes to go here at the game. It was a good call there from Todd Smith in the end, but I think we all knew that was going to be forward regardless. So Manly are going to be 10 metres out here from their own line. Ruben Garrick rolls it back here to Jamal Fogarty. We can't go set for set when Manly are chancing their arm. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Second tackle now for Manly, and they're going to be at the 20. That's exactly what you want it actually to be. You do want it to be a set for set. You just need to hold the ball and defend. That's exactly what you want. What are you talking about? You want this to be set for set, bro. Third tackle now, and then hopefully you can force Manly into an error. Third tackle at 25. They go this ball across to Brendan Wakeham. Wakeham at the back to Jamal Fogarty. Fogarty now off to Favalalo. Favalalo gets locked down by Niva Peru. That was good. Fourth tackle at 30. They get now to Hetherington, and it'll be fifth tackle at 35. Not a great set here at all. Only about 26 metres, 27 metres on this set. What is it? 28 metres. I was close enough. Jamal Fogarty. Good pressure there from Cronulla, but Will Candy grabs this ball at the 10. And he'll give this ball off to Sam Stone Street, who's going to run this sideways. And just not good enough, man. Run straight, bro. You're going back to the 20. Yeah, Sam Stone Street running sideways there, slowly jogging into the line was not the right option at all. Molitalo, now he's going to come up with a tough carry, and he's going to bring this ball to the 25 on second tackle. Braden Trindle. And they'll be taken down at the 30 on third tackle. Yeah, I swear the Sharks haven't been in a close game all year, man. They either win games 13 plus or they lose games 13 plus. This is the first time we've seen a close game with the Sharks nearly all year. What was the last close game they were in? Adam Fanor-Blake brings this ball here to the 50 on fifth tackle. And they go to the right, however, Peru to Trindle. So Peru is playing their hooker with Blake Brayley injured. Good chase here from the Sharks. Falalo will get taken down to the 15. That's Billy Burns. Billy Burns has to be man of the match for mine. If the Sharks win this game, it has to go to Billy Burns. And Leha Pawade, he will get dragged back here to the 15 on second tackle. And they'll go out to Josh Folidi. Third tackle now at the 25. Nope, Manly's on a 3-game win streak. Fourth tackle, but they got 7 out of their last 8. Unless I'm incorrect. I'm pretty certain they had a 4-game win streak going into the Panthers game. Lost the Panthers game, and then they've won 3 games since then, if I'm not mistaken. Will Kennedy will now be at the 33. That's off the top of my head, though. I could be wrong. First tackle. And the Sharks now will not go to Stone Street. A good run there from Niva Peru to the 40. Foldy spamming the 40-20 button. Yeah, well, we got really close with the last one, so it makes sense. And the Sharks will get this ball to the 50. And they'll go to the left-hand side, and good running from Teague Wilton. 45 metres out, 4 tackle. Gee whiz, this has been just such a Shark second half, but 5th tackle now. Now go to Braden Trindle, and Trindle's going to put that ball up in the air. Mulatalo chasing this ball through, so it's Billy Burns. Catch by Failalo, and he'll be taken down to the 3 on first tackle. 10 minutes to go of the first half. 10 minutes to go of the game here, sorry, folks. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new around here. 26-22 to the Sharks. They were up 22-4 at our time, and typical Cronulla doing Cronulla things have allowed Manly back in this game. I'm telling you, Manly have not been impressive here, but at the end of the day, if they can get the 2 points, they get the 2 points. 3rd tackle, Blake Browley, a suspected broken arm, is brutal for Cronulla long term and for New South Wales in game 2. Jason Saab, he'll be taken down here at the 33 on 4th tackle. Not an amazing set here. And Ruben Garrick is going to slowly step around and just completely waste it. He's been so bad today, Ruben Garrick. He's been really poor. 5th tackle, only a 30-metre gain. And Manly now are going to whack this ball down the centre where Will Kennedy should get an easy one. Where's Will Kennedy? Will Kennedy's walking on the other side. It took Stone Street ages to get to that. Oh, that's a high tackle. Oh, damn, they didn't call it. Okay, first tackle here at the 20. Will Kennedy, I thought Stone Street got slapped by a high tackle there, but not to be. Second tackle now at the 20. Yeah, Manly definitely struggling to make meters right now, Sando. But they've been struggling to make meters all day here today. This is the problem. They have been beaten in every single statistic. It's amazing to me they're even in this game. But the Sharks doing Sharks things. 4th tackle now for Cronulla at the 33. 4th tackle. And they'll go to Adam Fanua-Blake. And Fanua-Blake, that's a good run to the 45 and 5th tackle. And now they'll go to Nivai Peru, who's just going to dink that one down underneath to Faulalo, who'll play it with his foot, and he'll bring this ball to the 20, to the 25. Okay, you need to make some meters here, Manly. 9 minutes to go of the game. You need to start making some meters. Because you only made 30 meters in that last set. Your average set distance was pretty much in the underwhelming category. You were just hitting the marker, but pretty much in the underwhelming category in the first half. And right now, in this second half, what are they currently at? They're currently going set for set, by the way. The current average set distance is 34.3. Yeah, they're in the underwhelming category. So that's what we were saying. Definitely in the underwhelming category. I don't know if that updated with that 30. Garrick, right side. Jason Saab, great tackle. Wow, Stone Street, unbelievable. Sam Stone Street, that is a pinpoint perfection tackle where he throws Jason Saab over the sideline of the 50. And this is why I was saying, who was the one who said he couldn't go for set? Home of the NRL, not having a crack at you, just using you as a reference point. So when I said you need to go set for set with them, you want this to game go set for set, because if you go set for set, this kind of thing will happen. You're forcing Manly to break the game away. You don't need to break the game away. You're leading 26-22 right now. You're leading by 4 points. You want it to go set for set because Manly are the ones with the pressure on them, not you. So you can force an error like that. They have to throw the ball around where you take Jason Saab over the sideline. Now you've got the ball at the 50. As long as you complete your sets, you should win this game. And that's why set for set benefits you, not Manly. Toby Rudolph now will beat the 40. Do you understand what I was trying to say now? So second tackle for the Sharks. They go to Adam Fanua-Blake, and Fanua-Blake is going to be at the 30, the 25 on 3rd tackle. You score here, Cronulla, you win the game. Drop goal? No, what? Crossboarding? Drop goal is not in anybody's thought process right now whatsoever. Why would you want to take a 5-point lead? Manly could score one, convert, try and win the game by 1 point by doing that. That'd be the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And also to risk a 7 tackle set, that's outrageous. They go to the left-hand side, Teague Wilton, and Teague Wilton's going to be at the 15 on 5th tackle now. If you get a penalty, you take the 2 points for sure. But field goal is not even in the equation right now. Nivai Peru is just going to run this ball to the 5 and it'll be taken down. I'm fine with it. I'm not exactly over the moon with it, but you're forcing them to run 95 metres here. I don't know what you're on about right now, cross-boarding. First tackle now for Manly. And Saab. Oh, Saab. No. It's a knock-on. Oh, Jason Saab has stunk it up in these last few moments. They lost their challenge too, so it's going to be called a knock-on here. I think this may be a little bit harsh. It does look like it maybe had gone backwards, but Sharks, for mine, you should score here. No, Manly aren't fraudulent. They've got a lot of injuries right now. Cronulla will come off of... Oh, dude, I don't even know if I want to take him off a scan for this performance. I asked you guys in the chat, and be honest, try and remove your anti-Sharks bias. Would you say that this performance has been enough to take the Sharks from scam to fraud? Because I would debate it. Right side have been horrid for Manly. Oh, it's been dreadful. You're right, Jono. So Sharks now, Moeni Hiroti. They'll be at the 10. Yeah, Jason's up. But specifically, Ruben Garrick has had one of his worst games. 6 again if Cronulla at the 10. This should be the game here. It should be the game. So, Annie, I'm not going to take your opinion because you're a Dragons fan. I know you're not being unbiased. You are being biased with that thought process. Well, this is 2 wins in a row. They beat the Bulldogs 2 weeks ago, Michael. So the Sharks, I feel like you kind of need to, on that basis, take them down to fraud. But, geez, they've still played plenty scammy today. Braden Trindle off to Toby Rudolph, and he'll be 3 minutes away from the line. 3rd tackle. Will Kennedy, Braden Trindle. Trindle short ball, Teague Wilton. And Teague Wilton's going to be 4th tackle now. 4 metres out here from the line. 4th tackle. Will Kennedy to Braden Trindle. Trindle goes at himself here. All right, kick this ball out of the right-hand side. In 5.5 minutes, just don't give away a 7-tackle set. That's all you got to ask for. Nivai Peru puts this ball up into the air. The chase through is nice. It's a drop ball from Manly. And it's going to be a penalty to Cronulla. Take the 2. You take the 2 every day of the week here. You take the 2 there. Luke Brooks escort. It'll be a 2-pointer for Cronulla coming up. And that'll be a 6-point game. So the game's still on here for Manly. This is kind of your best case. Well, your best case scenario is not conceding anything, but with that being said, it's your best case scenario because that means that you're still only down by 6. Middle says, no, Manly been dreadful today. It's still a game. It is still a game. The Sharks, but the thing is, guys, we've also got to give credit to Cronulla in the sense that they've had no Nico Hines, they've had no Kale Iro, they've had no Britton Nakora, and Manly have had their outs too. But they've been able to get through a game here on a depth player of Nivai Peru without their number $1 million halfback. Now, you can have your questions about Nico Fine, that's fair, but he's still their number one position on the field as a halfback. That defines your whole team. And they've been able to still probably win this game. It's still not over yet. But they'll be up by 6 with about 4 minutes to go. So they probably win this game. And you had to get rid of you didn't have your star halfback for it. So there is a good question for it. But I haven't been convinced either. Skell says, this game has been good as far as getting rid of all those 6 agains for little things. The first half was literally with 6 agains. Did Origin change the way games are reffed? I hope so. I hope so. Second half hasn't had too many 6 agains, but the first half had quite a few 6 agains. The first half, I think, had about 10 or 11 6 agains. Second half, not so much. Typical Gummy Sharks, they'll get pumped next week. Skeletor, they play the Dragons next week. They play the Dragons. So, Sharks 28, Manly 22 with 3.5 minutes to go here. Don't forget, guys, tomorrow we've got live 3 games. We'll be live for the first game, which is the Knights versus Eels. And then we've got Tigers versus the Bulldogs. And then the final game of the day will be Storm Roosters. And that's out in the full there from Manly. You've lost the game. The game's over. Penalty to Cronulla here at the halfway point. 12 in the first half. Thank you, Sunday. There was plenty of 6 agains. Just something Humans is not convinced. Not convinced, but again, it was going to be difficult to sell. It was going to be a very tough sell convincing the Sharks were legitimate today based off of a team that had no Kale Iro, Nico Hines, and also Brett Nakora. Wait, why is this not a penalty to Sharks at the halfway point? It went out in the full. What? Why is that not it's out in the full there from... Why is that just to play the ball at the 40? Why is that not a penalty? That's what? Am I drunk? Am I drunk here? Am I crazy or something? I know I'm crazy, but like, am I crazy? That is a penalty. But they've just been given the ball at the 40. It's not the same as a dropout. Unless I'm mistaken, unless they've changed this rule recently too. Because that wasn't included with the short dropout. That's a penalty. Anyway, Sharks put this up high in the air and Faulalo catches that one of the 15. Since when has had to play the ball? Exactly right, Marcel. I don't know what just happened. Oh, they changed another rule on us, have they? Second tackle for Manly at the 20. Well, they're only down by 6. You could send this extra time here with a try, converted try. Taniela Paseka. He's going to bring this ball to the 25 on third tackle. And they go it across here to Brendan Wakeham. Wakeham now to Jamal Fogarty. Fogarty gets it across here. They're away. They throw it off to Saab. Saab on the sideline. Saab's been shocking. He is quite literally, they're breaking these over the sideline. Saab, Manly are breaking away. Saab decides, it looks like they're still going to make the tackle regardless. Saab and Garrick today have been it's been like the worst game of the season for them for sure. Jason Saab here has stopped right there and then slowly run into Sam Stonestreet, who's just taken him over the sideline there. I'm sorry, but that right-hand edge for Manly today has been pathetic. He doesn't look like he cared just then, Jason Saab. He didn't look like he cared in that very moment. I'm not saying that he didn't care. I'm just saying he didn't look like he gave a shit just then. Michael says, has anyone signed a petition form for Klein to fuck off? No, because I think it's stupid, but I might do it just for shits and giggles. Stone Street is owning Sub. Stone Street has owned Sub tonight, Brenton. Owned him. I reckon if they kicked it out in the full from on the 20, it would have been a penalty halfway. But that doesn't make it. It doesn't matter. What? So you're saying that you can't make that as a rule? Like, what? That doesn't. Because then technically, I'll just say that I could then just say that I shanked it, and this isn't what I was planning. Like you could completely just get around that rule if that was the rule you're talking about. Why did he stop running? He could have angled his run at the defender to force himself inside. That's what I'm saying. He looked like he did not care. I'm not saying he didn't care, but it looked like he did not care. Third tackle now for Cronulla at the 35. I would go for a field goal at the end of the set. The 7 tackle set won't mean anything. It won't mean anything. I'd take a field goal at the end of the set, run the ball up straight, go for a field goal, make it 29-22. If you get it, great. If you miss it, 7 tackle set's not going to hurt you. 4 tackle here at the 28. Who's got a field goal in him, though? Because Nico Hines isn't here. Cameron McInnes. Okay, someone set up for the field goal. It's 40 seconds to go. You may as well. It's a free shot. Braden Trindle. Okay, they don't do it. It was a free shot. Bad play. And Manly catch the ball at the 3. You've now given Manly another shout. And he's lost the ball there. That's game. He lost the ball. And that, my friends, is going to be game. It's a dropout here. Well, actually, he caught the ball, but then taken back in the end goal. Rudolph. Okay, didn't need that comment there, Michael. Ryan says, any reason why Garrick is kicking side, not Fogarty? That's not going 10. That is going to go actually over the dead ball line. 6 seconds to go here. Well, Cronulla are going to win this game. That should be the end of it. And, my friends, that is the end of the game. Well, look. Sharks, you were the better team here today by a long way. But you allowed a team that were awful today to be within 6 of you and within 4 of you. They still made 300 more meters than Manly. And this is where I'm going to emphasize this here for you, all right? So when I talk and criticize the Sharks here despite winning, the stats are this. So the Sharks have shown stats here where they should have won by 50 against this Manly team. More possession, more time possession. Completion rate was 95%. That is unbelievable. 73% for Manly is awful. That is a 22% gap between completion rate. Sharks had 300 more meters than Manly. They had 60 more post-contact meters than Manly. Thank you, Jarrett, for becoming a member. They had 7 more tackle breaks in this game. They had a better average set distance. They had a faster play the ball speed. They had more offloads. But what's interesting is that it was 12-6 at halftime. It's now 12-11. So Manly did win that second half offloads-wise. You go to the kick to field goal, 67% apiece. More forced dropouts. The effective tackle percentage dropped off in the second half because they dominated the first half with 90%. Ineffective tackles, they went from they doubled it a bit. The missed tackles, they had 9. This time they had 23. They had less errors. Long story short, the Sharks, you deserved to win this game by 50 in a lot of ways, but the second half, you just threw it completely out of the bag. Manly weren't great today, but they found a way to stick themselves in the game. I don't think this is an impressive Manly loss. The loss against Panthers was good. I did think they showed a lot of good signs there. This wasn't, but I do look at it and go, okay, well, Hamoli Schmoli's out. You got no Tom Trbojevic there as well. The Sharks have got their own situation with their players who are out as well, but this wasn't great Manly because it looked exactly like the game last week, which you should have lost the Titans, but the Titans made too many errors. So, Sharks, I think I'm probably still going to have you on scam, but if you win next week, I might actually, with 3 wins in a row, skip you from fraud and just take you off of scam and fraud, even though I don't want to do that because tonight was very scammy, but you still found a way to win. Justin, another human said, I didn't enjoy that match, but at least it was close. I enjoyed it. I thought it was still decent. It didn't have an amazing amount of energy, but I still enjoyed it. Now for you says, I don't know, but the Sharkies always stagnate after building a 16-plus lead. Pisses me off. Yeah, I agree with you. That's a great call. The Sharks don't know how to go on with it when they really should be going on with it. And tonight was a perfect example of that. Guys, thanks, boys. Always good fun on the stream. See you tomorrow, buddy. Big love from London. Everyone enjoy your weekend. Yeah, grab the umbrella out, mate, and the raincoat. You're going to need it for this week in London. But we'll see you tomorrow. We've got 3 games tomorrow. We've got Eels versus the Knights, the Tigers versus the Bulldogs, and the Roosters versus the Storm. Jared says, needed to reward myself from having to sit through this game. Sad to become a member again today. Appreciate you, Jared. Nothing even says, remain on scam, my opinion. I think for the time being, yes. And then it's going to be a tough sell to you guys to take him off next week against the Dragons, but I will probably sell it to you. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to have to sell it to you next week. Merely not on fraud alert, Michael. No, they've lost 1 game here. If they had lost last week, for sure. But they didn't. Probably should have, though. I don't think you can put it against the Sharks here. But the argument is fair. The argument is fair, but I won't be doing it, no. So with that win, by the way, so the Rabbitohs and the Dolphins will both go up because they had the bye. So the Sharks won't be going above those 2 teams because their points differential, they need to win by 17 or more, which they had a chance to, but they didn't. So they'll go to plus 40. They're in 7th position. Manly will stay in 4th position. However, that's actually as far as... No, if the Knights win tomorrow, then Newcastle will go above Manly into 4th position. Yeah, then Newcastle. And if the Cowboys win against the Raiders, then Manly would go into 6th position. So a little bit of change there. Sharks, you could still find yourself out of the top 8 in the 9th position, but a win is a win regardless. Just another human says Dylan Brown hat-trick tomorrow. I do believe Dylan Brown will go try. I think that's a great bet. Yeah. I actually did pretty well with try scorers tonight, actually. I picked up... who did I pick up? I got Billy Burns, who got a double, and I also picked up a Ben Trebojevic slap up. Didn't pick up Luke Brooks or Ronaldo Molitalo, but did pretty well. 2 back rows, pretty happy with that. But guys, I'm going to jump off for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow for Knights, Eels, Tigers, Bulldogs, and Storm Roosters. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here, and I will see you for tomorrow's games. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.